I don't know why you're doing it. Actually, unfortunately, I'm looking at my chat right now.
Yeah, I
is
believe
it unfortunate? But I do know why you're removing it. Because of the absolute mongoloids like you people saying this is an L take and PAs are useless if they have an indicator. Hey, so
this
when
is what
I'm
I'm
in
saying,
circle
dude.
5 behind a rock in my only piece of cover and you PA my, I guess it's useless since I know, okay, I can clearly see this PA is going to me, or I have to run out of the only piece of cover I have and get by the guys holding me because it's the only cover. I guess the PA actually is useless in this case. I guess I'm not gonna die right now, whether I stay here and die to the PA that I know is coming and where it's coming, or run out of it and get beamed because I'm on the only piece of cover. Guess those guys shouldn't have called a PA on me. Idiots. What are you guys talking about? Ramin, stop. Don't say that.
Yeah, is he being serious or is that
I hope
sarcasm?
he's trolling.
I think he's trolling.
I don't know.
That's what I'm assuming.
Oh, it's funny either way. It's funny either way. We're live. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot Call You podcast, episode number 510. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon, and today I'm joined by Tanner for the moment we've almost all been waiting for.
Wow, almost, huh?
Yeah, almost the moment we've all been waiting for, I should say, which is, of course, the Season 3 patch notes. So that's what we're doing today. We're covering the Season 3 patch notes. We will have some announcements, so stick around for the end of the show if you're interested in hearing those. But I want to get right into it because there's a lot. Now, I'm also going to add, there are multiplayer patch notes and Warzone patch notes. We will be ignoring the multiplayer patch notes, and I hope that helps. So,
yeah, entirely.
There you go. There's nothing to say about them that wasn't in the blog post. We know what maps we're getting. We know what guns we're getting. There exist LTMs. And then they're going to do weapon balance for multiplayer that none of us have played in 8 months. So who cares? However, the Warzone patch notes, there is a lot to get into. So that's what we're going to do. And I'll add here, I have not read these myself yet, because as is tradition, I have abstained to experience them live for the first time with you guys. However, I'm online, so I've seen some things about Season 3 and these patch notes, and everything I've seen has been bad. Or, more appropriately, worse than I expected.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't see all the patch notes, so maybe there's a diamond in the rust. Shout out Roberta Flack, I think. But we're not off to a great start based on what I've seen online, which we will of course get into. And also keep in mind, of course, not once yet, I'll remind you all once again, have the patch notes ever reflected what actually changes with the game this entire year? Not once. So the best case scenario was going to be these patch notes are all quite good and sound good, and then we get 60% of them actually implemented, and then the game's overall better. What I did not account for was a lot of the intentional changes being ass, because we haven't had that yet this year. They've been terrible at updating the game this year, but what they've said they wanted to do were good things, and then they fuck it up. That's one thing. They've never said they want terrible, awful dog shit things, which is already what I've seen before having read the patch notes. So we're not off to a great start, and remember I told you so. And that's been my name in Discord for weeks. in anticipation of this moment and further Thursday. So, look, I'm going to be as objective and fair and optimistic as possible, but there is only so much I can do. I am not a Tibetan monk. I am not Gandhi.
Really?
I am not the Buddha. I'm not the Dalai Lama. Okay? I am some guy who's at his wit's end, as they say. So let's just get into it. And I'll be more bugged, I'm sure, but maybe there's some good things in here. I've also been told, oh, the audio thing looks good by someone who will not be named, because I doubt it, but we'll see. Anyway, Warzone! Season 3 patch notes.
Little
And you've
horsepower
read
behind
more
that
of
one, huh?
this. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm extremely excited, unfortunately, for Verdansk because I'm fucking retarded. So,
Yeah.
and then as another, some background, Tanner has quote heavily skimmed these patch notes, so
I've done
you've
a
seen
skim,
most
yeah.
of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so we'll see. Okay. So these were released yesterday, the 31st. Here's a picture of the roadmap. We're going to go over all of it. Starting off strong, Ricochet anti-cheats the first section that they link to their blog post, which we've already covered.
We'll
Got
read it again.
Okay. And just as a quick reminder on that, rampant cheaters by Saturday. Rampant. So just keep that in mind. And when it happens to you, I told you so. So next is the Battle Pass. Don't care. Console crossplay. This I think we're going to get into a little bit, because I think something here is interesting. In Season 3, we're giving console players more granular options by separating the multiplayer ranked play and Warzone ranked play settings. Oh, okay. And adding a new multiplayer only setting for quick play, featured, and party games matches. Okay. Each of these three settings, multiplayer ranked, Warzone ranked, and multiplayer unranked, will include console only matchmaking or not console only matchmaking, basically. So if you want to do crossplay off for any game mode, you can, except for Warzone publics, I guess. So fine.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't really matter that much to me. And then additional details, other shit. So that doesn't really matter. Next is UI, UX / tech. Okay.
Gonna be a lot of tech in here. New tech.
New tech. Yeah, they love their new tech. So you can now preload shaders and get a warning. Okay. Cool. It's going to bug me if I mantle over rather than on top of a thinner high ledge, but they spent dev time reskinning the fucking preloading shaders thing. Hey, wait for it to finish and you're done. I don't need...
Oh, I see what they've done. So they've swapped it into between the modes. So if you're opening Warzone, it won't do the shaders for like BO6 zombies or something. So they'll be faster. I understand.
Yeah, you don't have to do it for all modes at once.
Yeah. So interesting. So it'll take 15 seconds instead of 25. That's a nice
I
big
mean,
change,
actually. Yeah, actually. So like, okay. Yeah.
Fine.
So,
Okay.
So these are the types of things we're spending dev time on. And I just want us to keep that in mind once the game launches. Okay. So when you can't hear anyone, you can say, but at least I can modularly preload my shaders for one update every 6 weeks. Cool, guys. Cool dev team. So anyway, and then there's a PC benchmark. Cool. And then the customization shit. So also we're going to skim a lot of this because a lot of it we already talked about from the blog post. There's also a lot of shit in here that is not from the blog post, which obviously we're also going to cover and we're going to get more detailed on. But the things we already know, we're going to do a little gloss over. I don't know why I said that and it bugs me. So anyway, Black Cell daily challenges are now going to be a thing, so you can get extra XP. Okay. And then the Return to Verdansk event. Let's see if there's any new details on this. There aren't. Maps, classic. Welcome fucking home is what this says on this image here.
Yeah.
And we have a little picture of Verdansk at dusk.
That's Verdansk. Yep.
Not at dusk, actually. More like high
just
fucking noon.
Bog standard lighting, yeah.
It's actually so far away from dusk. We're at the prison, POV. Everything's the same color, so that's cool. But whatever, haven't played the map yet. So welcome home, Verdansk has returned. The map that started it all. And then they write a lot of other words. And then they write a recap of some of the improvements. And we've covered pretty much all of this. Looks like actually all of this. So yeah, just like the ascenders, the double hinged doors, other shit like that. Gulag Showers is coming back, but there are going to be 3 variants. So kind of like we have now, where it's always the same gulag, but you can get like different little layouts of it. That's a good thing when the gulag is good, because then you have some variety, but it's always a good environment. And that's really bad when the gulag sucks, because then you have a bunch of variants, but all of them you can't see anyone in past the muzzle flash. So hopefully any of the gulag showers are good visibility, because then all of them will be. But I don't know. It looks like it'll be better than the one we have now, to be fair. Rebirth Island is going to be in the game, and I'm surprised at it. So,
hell yeah.
Cool. So anyway, BR Casual's coming. There's going to be 120 bots in it, so it's going to be shit. There's going to be a little LTM, and then we're getting BR, obviously. Plunder, Warzone Bootcamp. And then Resurgence will be live shortly after the launch of Season 3 in quads on Rebirth. So you don't have to do away with Rebirth for very long. So, moving on from that. Ranked play, they say a little bit about, doesn't really matter. And we have 150 players instead of 120. But if you've been playing Warzone for the last couple weeks, you probably are already used to this by now. Although, you should keep in mind, Urzikstan 150 players is going to feel a lot more crowded than Verdansk 150 players will, probably. Because Urzikstan right now has way more regain mechanics. So you could buy gulag tokens, you get the go again gulags, you can get bought back more cheaply, you can balloon hop so that you can find a accessible safe buy. There are flares, self revives are everywhere. So it's gonna feel more crowded on Urzikstan, even though it's the same number of players, because you can't wipe any team. It's too hard to die. That's not going to be true, or it's going to be less true, I should say, once we get Season 3 on Verdansk. So it will not feel nearly as crowded as it does now. So that's something to keep in mind. And that's a good thing, because if we had 120 on Verdansk and all the other changes, terrible news. That would be really bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Horrendous stuff. So this is good. Free fall shootings coming back. Yeah, so we went over all of this. This I don't know if we talked about. Endgame circle pacing specifically. Here's what they say.
Hold on, you skipped the revive rotation thing.
Okay, players can now rotate their view 360 degrees while reviving a squad mate, instead of being fixed on their squad mate's down position, giving the perfect opportunity to call out if your squad mate is being pushed by an enemy as they revive you.
This was something else that used to be in the game, and then starting in Warzone 2, that was when it locked you into that position where you couldn't move. So this is actually nice to have back.
Yeah. Okay. I had forgotten about this. Originally being like whatever in the game. So that is cool. And I'll take it. Yeah. Not a huge deal, but I like it. And then endgame circle pacing. The gas circle pacing is faithful to the original timings of the gas closing, as well as the circle size and movement. This means that BR matches will run longer to create a more well-defined initial looting phase. And then they list all the times, which I'm not gonna read. But basically, matches are gonna be longer now. That's another reason it's gonna feel less crowded. Because the circle is gonna be bigger most of the time. So that's good and very necessary, especially since we're getting rid of balloons. If I can't balloon hop everywhere, you can't have the gas faster than Usain Bolt. It's not going to work. Everyone's just going to die to gas. So this is a very good change. This is going to feel way more different than people may expect it to, by the way. It's going to take some getting used to, especially if you are some ADD chimp 8-brain, like, push everyone and everything at all times player, which is many people playing Warzone still right now. The game's going to be a lot slower. Literally, the matches are going to be longer, and you're not going to be able to move nearly as much. So this is a good change given everything else they're doing, but it is going to feel way different, way more like it used to. Which in this way is fine. That's, I would call the, like, removing balloons, making the circle pace, making the matches longer like they used to be, and then increasing the vehicle speed. All of those things I don't think are good or bad. They're neutral. They're fine. I think they're good because it's different and it's about time we shake things up. Mm-hmm. So for the novelty's sake, I think they're good. But, like, you know, if I wasn't bored of either play style, I could take either one, honestly. However, there are a lot of, so this is good is what I'm saying. This is one of those original things that I'm, like, fine with coming back. Unfortunately, there seem to be some things that we used to have that we don't have to put up with anymore that are also coming back, and that bothers me, and we'll get into those. But do you think this is going to feel way, way different also?
Yes, I think it will. I think that's going to feel much different.
Yeah.
Even just, like, having to just get into the zone, like they say here. Like, if you're deep outside of the circle, you're going to get caught in the gas and basically die unless you have a car.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So they write some more words about it. I'm going to read these. We've got some good memories of games ending in the woods above quarry, or in the deep forests on the east or west of Verdansk. And this change to circle logic brings back those possible end games. Yeah. They listen to the podcast, by the way. Be warned, this does mean that the circle can move very quickly if you are caught deep outside when the gas starts to move. Respect the circle and you'll stay alive.
That's what I always say. Respect the circle, guys.
Yep. And you'll stay alive. Yeah. So this is good. I like this. This is explicit confirmation that they plan on allowing some games to end on the edges of the map, which we were reminiscing about. Will they actually? Is a separate question. And just keep that in mind for every single thing we read in these patch notes. There's what they say is going to happen, what they say they're going to do, what they say they're going to change, and then what they actually do or change. Just keep it in mind. But
yeah,
these are good words. It's a good idea. I like it. Because this is something explicitly Tanner and I were kind of worried about. Not that it's a huge deal, but I like that circles can end in, you know, a lot of places, including those outsides of the map that are very fun. Many models and textures found across Verdansk now feature classic aesthetics, including but not limited to armor plates, satchels, buys, and contracts. Okay. Shouldn't have read that. It doesn't matter. Actually, with the exception of the contracts, because now they're going to, like, float and be easier to pick up and see. Okay, what else? Gulag loadouts. Here's another new thing. Loadouts within the Gulag has been, reworked to improve variety and balancing. These loadouts will change as the game progresses, allowing players that return to the field victorious to do so with a competitive weapon in hand for a better chance at recovery. Okay, so here's one thing that we are not reverting on. Back in my day, and instead of saying back in original Verdansk, I will now be saying back in my day, and I hope that helps.
Okay.
Back in my day, no matter what your gulag loadout was, if you won it, you came back with one pistol, that's it, and no plates. That's how it used to be. We are now getting confirmation that is something we are not reverting on.
Yeah.
Would I like to revert on that? Yes. On big map, yes. Hey, don't let me land on some poor guy's head who's been thinking about smart rotates all game, gets to a nice rooftop, and the only way he gets punished is by some other guy being bad, getting sent to the gulag, and then parachuting on his bitch ass with a 50 round mag, fucking Mac 10 blueprint edition, which we're certainly getting at some time in season 3. Probably not, actually. And 2 plates. And you lose. Terrible. Terrible idea. I never liked this. When it first happened, we talked about it. This is overpowered. And it is. Especially if, say we're playing quads, and I'm the only one alive, and I have a bunch of money, as usually is what happens when I play quads with the people I play with. And we're near the end game, and I make it to a buy, hashtag team captain. I buy all 3 of them back at the same time. Let's say there's 4 other teams. One team is in the obvious power position on some roof. All 3 of my teammates at the same time just dive bomb him with KSVs. What is that guy supposed to do? You could be the best player on earth, you're dead. It bugs me. I didn't expect this to be reverted, but I would have liked to it have been reverted, and it didn't. So just something I wanted to point out, because a lot of what they said in the blog post and what they will say in these patch notes, I suspect, is, oh, we want to make it feel like classic Verdansk as much as we possibly can. Which is weird, because they say that, and then we're also leaving fucking shock charges in the game. We'll get into it. So if you want it to feel like classic Verdansk, cool, but don't pick only the shitty parts to revert back to, and not any of the good parts. Because that would be really fucking insane, right?
Yeah.
They're really picking and choosing. Yes, exactly. And we will get into it. Don't you fucking worry, obviously. But this is one way we're not going back. This isn't the biggest deal in the world. There are worse examples we will get into. Anyway, here are the gulag loadouts that you can land on someone with. Oh, I should have read. Oh, never mind. I shouldn't have read. There are a lot of them. So, you know, pistol. It depends on what circle you're in. So if you're in the first circle, it's a pistol in the gulag, so that when you get bought back, you only have a pistol. This has some logic to it, but it falls apart by the end. So circle 4 and onwards. You could either have a C9 with an extended mag and a quick draw grip, an AS Val with an extended mag and recoil springs, or a PP919 with a quick draw grip and compensator. Those are great guns for me to fucking dive on some guy with in circle 4 or onwards. So that's why this is kind of ass.
I'm glad that the tacticals for every circle, it's a smoke grenade always. So
that's
every
true.
single time in the gulag, you're going to have a smoke grenade. That's nice.
That's an improvement.
It's actually fantastic. Great little way to break aim assist in the gulag. I might win every gulag now on. Kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. And
at least,
said, hold. I'm sorry. I can't. Sub 1 has said, the guy camping on the roof needs to spend more than 18 cents on a pair of headphones so that he can hear someone dropping in on him. Uber bold of you to assume anyone's going to hear people not parachuting on them, dive bombing them and pulling their chute at the last second. Fuck, is it bold of you to assume anyone will hear that, regardless of their setup? We have no idea what the audio is going to be like. I can venture a guess, though. How has every update up to now been? Not great. Do I have faith the audio's gonna be fucking good? No! Fuck no! Obviously. So that bugged me, but sorry, Tanner, I interrupted you. Fuck
Oh,
that
no, I was just
bothered me.
saying, these, like, Circle 3 and Circle 4 loadouts are insane. If they're not going to change this, so at least you're really only getting close range guns. You're not going to come back from the gulag with like a crazy AR where you're going to start beaming people across map. At the very least, it's an SMG, so you don't have much power past, like, 15, 20 meters. But also when you're in that late of a circle, it's going to be a smaller zone anyway. So if they aren't going to revert this, at least they're SMGs. That's the best we could ask for, honestly.
Yeah, true. I mean, the AS Val technically isn't, but it.
Yeah,
I mean, it might
but
as
it
well
is.
Be.
It's
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
terrible. It's
exactly
the worst. It's worse than all these pistols. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good point. That's fair. But again, yeah, like my concern.
But when it comes
really,
to landing on people, yeah.
Exactly. It's really exclusively that. like, because like
true.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. I mean, and look, hopefully the audio is great and I can hear people ballooning on me. But even if that's the case, what am I going to do if I hear 3 guys at the same time? No, die. I'm going to die. Doesn't matter. Again, doesn't matter how good I am. It's 3 people with C9s.
Yeah.
So
at least they're going to spawn us high up in the air, so you have more time to listen to people falling to the ground, before they land on you with their C9. Oh, wait.
We'll get into that, of course. Yeah. So
yeah.
In just a moment, actually. So anyway, players will now infill and spawn with the 9mm PM, replacing the GS45. So this is very emblematic of this entire update. We're going from the Lord's Caliber to a fucking Chi-Com 9mm.
Yeah.
Does this actually matter? Of course not. But it's a symbol. This is a symbolic representation of, I suspect, what season 3 will be. But anyway, this is interesting. Late game redeployments will now spawn players closer to the ground, reducing the need to hover while positioning during final circles. This system has not been turned on since BO6 launched. Okay. So why did they feel the need to say the system hasn't been turned on since BO6 launched? First of all, don't mention that. I know that. Why did you say that? I don't get it. Also, I'm actually not sure how I feel about this. I guess it depends on how low to the ground I am.
Yeah.
I suspect this is bad though. So if you get bought back late game and you just apparate closer to the ground, you're closer to that rooftop where that guy rotated to a power position, and you can more easily punish him. He has less time to find you or start shooting at you. That's terrible news for him and for the game, obviously. On the other hand, it's also can be more dangerous as the person who's been bought back. Because if I get bought back late game, depending on the circle and where people are, it's usually fairly safe for a couple of seconds to just float at the very apex of where you've been bought back and look around for a safe spot. But if I get bought back lower to the ground, I might not have that time anymore because I might be close enough to where I'm just going to immediately start getting beamed.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, it could be more dangerous for people who haven't died. On the other hand, it could be more dangerous for the guy who just got bought back. I'm not really sure what I think of this.
Yeah.
I don't think it was necessary, but they have done this before in another game. I think that's why they put that last sentence in there. I don't remember when or what mode, because it might have even been Resurgence. But they were like, yeah, we're going to spawn you like closer to the ground in this mode or whatever. I don't remember when it was.
I don't either.
Yeah. What do you think of this?
I don't know. Hard to say without playing it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It could go either way.
Yeah.
It could almost feel like if you're the guy on the ground, And like Travis mentioned with the auto buyback, you have 3 people spawning in the same spot at the same exact time, basically, which I guess isn't much different than just spawning 3 people individually. But all those people now, they're going to come back with a pistol when they get bought back, but all of them spawning lower to the ground, faster, or a quicker chance for them to just all land on you at the same time. That wouldn't be super great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I could see this cutting both ways. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully not the end of the world either way. And the only problem with it is that you will spawn late game also with a fucking C9 with extended mags. Like, yeah. So we'll see. But anyway. Player respawn angles. Players will now respawn looking approximately 30 degrees downward instead of directly at the horizon, providing a clearer view of potential landing areas. Okay. This is good, I guess, but this adjustment aligns with natural player behavior when scouting landing spots, obviously.
Okay.
So that's fine. The distance at which unsuppressed weapons display a red dot on enemy players' maps or mini-maps has been reduced in Resurgence to better align to the map size. It is now only 112.5 meters. Why the 0.5? Great question. Instead of 250 meters. Okay. I guess.
I didn't realize those 250 meters on Rebirth. That's a big fucking area. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense for Resurgence at all. So I guess that makes sense.
I guess. I just don't think it matters very much either way, honestly. But
you're also just always in fights and paying attention to yourself. I'm never even opening my map and looking at some guy who's 100 meters away, let alone when it was 250. So good. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Stop playing Rebirth, but yeah.
Okay.
Resurgence.
So they write a lot of words about it. That change is fine. I don't think it matters very much.
These adjustments are based on both player feedback. No one's ever given that piece of feedback, by the way. But anyways.
I can't imagine, yeah. Oh,
I can't imagine to listen to the player feedback on gas grenades, man, and shock charges. For sure they'll listen to that piece of player feedback, right?
Harumph. We'll see. Sounded like it from the blog post. Okay. Floating loot. Cool. I'm so sick of talking or hearing about it. I'm not talking about it anymore. It's fine. I don't care. It's marginally better than what we have now. This is the least of my fucking concerns. So, cool. Adjustments. The return to Verdansk comes with some refinements to BR's loot philosophy. Okay. That brings us back to its roots.
Oh, nice. We're going back to its roots. Okay.
Let's remember that. Let's remember that passage. Okay. I want to flag this passage. A philosophy that brings us back to its roots. Okay. Consider that passage flagged. Life is valuable. Adaptability is key. Great loot must be earned, and contracts are central to earning cash. I will say the sentiment is correct, and these are good examples. Life was more valuable in game, of course, back in 2020 in BR. Your life was more valuable. Adaptability is key. That's a meaningless platitude. So that whatever.
Yeah.
Great loot must be earned. That's also pretty true of OG Verdansk, honestly.
Yeah.
You had to do you could do a scav to like guarantee an armor satchel. If you wanted like specialist or fucking juggernaut because that was in the game, you had to go to the bunker and type in the fucking keypad. So you did have to like earn the great loot, at least more so than now when I find a self-revive kit, 2 of them in every single box and perks. So sure. And contracts are central to earning cash. This also was how it was back in the day. Like nowadays, I rarely do contracts, if ever. Like sometimes it's like, oh, there's a bounty very close to me. Sure, I'll grab it.
You just do it for intel, yeah.
For shits and gigs and intel, yeah. But back in the day, what we do now is you land on a high value loot zone, you loot for 10 seconds, and you have $80,000, and then you load out. There's no need to do contracts anymore. But back in the day, you really did. I shouldn't say you had to do them, but it was easily the fastest way to a loadout, was doing contracts. That's not the case right now. So those examples, minus the platitude, are actually back to its roots. Those are good examples. I just want to point that out. Will they adhere to that? No, but we'll get into it. In order to create more intentionality around looting, the various sources of loot have been adjusted to be more reminiscent of the classic Verdansk days, with some improvements. Okay, common to epic ground loot weapons now sport a selection of random attachments that align with the weapon's natural strengths. Woo, woo, woo. Alarm bells, bad. Don't put random attachments on anything. Design the ground loot. Put intentional attachments on there. So I don't know what they mean by random, because they also say that align with the weapon's natural strengths. So if they're truly random, they can't align with a weapon's natural strengths.
Probably something like marksman rifles will have zoom optics on it, but random zoom optics. It'll change. Like an AR is not going to have like a thermal sight. Probably it'll have a random selection of red dots. Maybe a 2 times or a 3 times scope, something like that. That's about the only one I could think that makes sense, though. The other ones are, it's not like there are that many attachment choices anyways.
Right.
It's like, okay, a compensator or a fucking suppressor, basically.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And then, like, what you would have, like, grip attachments on SMGs with, like, fast ADS speed or something. Yeah. So I don't know what this means. I hate that there are random ones at all, though, because the example Tanner just pointed out, like, okay, so cool. I could find an SVD with like a variable 8 to 12x on it randomly, as if that gun wasn't shit enough. Like, that's not great. So we'll see how that plays out. Not well, I am imagining. Legendary weapons come with a variety of fixed builds tailored to specific roles that are randomly selected match over match. That's fine. If you have a couple different 8 attachment cipher builds and you cycle through them, as long as it's not the gunsmith gurus from back in the day making them, then this can be fine. So, okay. This change aims to maintain the excitement of random loot while preserving the reliability of weapon performance. Looting in recent years has become a little too static. A blue tier weapon often providing the most valuable attachments and devaluing an epic or legendary find. This change aims to bring some different outcomes in the more commonly found weapons and makes legendary weapons highly sought after. So this isn't a big deal, but I do hate it. Everyone just wants to get their loadout anyway. So just make the ground loot decent and reliable, but not as good as a loadout, and everyone's happy. How many people are clamoring and saying, man, I wish this blue KSV I find in 30 seconds all the time that I can reliably get in gunfights with had just random shit on it instead. Like, how many people are saying this? No one. No. Well, maybe some people, because apparently there are a lot of people clamoring for other dumb shit too. I don't know. I'm out of touch. I guess I'm just out of touch. But hopefully not a huge deal, depending on how much they fuck it up. But I like the static, reliable guns. And I still always swap my blue gun in this slop game to a purple or orange one every time anyway. So it's not like I devalue better color ones. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it matters far less than you're making it out to be, honestly. I don't know. I mean, just the thing, there aren't that many attachments in this game, like I said. So it's like you're gonna get a grip on the gun. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you get; they're all gonna feel exactly the same. I don't know. I really don't think it matters much at all. I think it's a big whatever.
Well,
like also early games are gonna be less hot than what we have right now, so you're gonna be more focused on looting. I think in general, so you're gonna just land on contracts again, probably to try to get money. You're gonna be focusing on that. You're not just going to be landing Trump Tower and fighting teams and teams or something like that. Matters more. So where you want like a weapon you're used to. I get kind of what they're going after though. I mean, it is like the blue PP 919 is the gun that kills in like 4 shots to your kneecap. So that's the best ground loot there is, and it's a blue gun. So I don't know. Whatever. I don't care either way at all.
I mean, also, I don't
as long as it doesn't get too weird.
Exactly, yeah. I don't care too much, but also a couple things to think about. We are going to be longer without a loadout than before, so we're going to be forced to use this ground loot for longer lengths of time before we can afford a loadout.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And also, they said sometime this year, hey guys, every single gun in Warzone, we're going to guarantee has some form of extended mag on it to match the increased health total because of armor plates you can have in Warzone. That's not true, actually. That's just another one of dozens of lies they've told us in the patch notes over just this year. Not true at all. Should be, though. Good idea. Is that going to be the case? Are they going to attempt and fail to have extended mags on all the ground loot in Warzone in Season 3? Or are they not even going to attempt it, and then I'm going to have a 30-round KSV? And the random attachment on my blue KSV is a fucking compensator and a rear grip, and it still has 30 rounds. That's going to bug me. So that was one improvement we've gotten, or attempted to have gotten, this year, that we might be getting rid of. It's unclear, just like the blog post was that we covered last time, which we will go over. But hopefully it doesn't matter too much. This season, high-value loot zones remain consistent every match. Okay, so that's an answer to that question. Allowing players to reliably identify hospital, military base, and superstore as POIs with enhanced ground loot and an increased number of supply boxes. Further enhancements to this feature will be added in future updates. Okay.
Interesting.
So we're getting the high value loot zones like we have now. Static from match to match. They're always the same. Again, I like it a lot better the Caldera way, where there's a random circle and that's a high value loot zone and it changes every single match. It creates dynamic hotspots. I think that's very cool. However, high value loot zones also do create hotspots, and that's also cool and probably better than not having any high value loot zones at all. Hopefully they rotate these 3 POIs. So like Season 3 Reloaded, it becomes, I don't know, Quarry, Prom West, and Train Station, for example. Those are the new high-value loot zones for this half of a season. That would be a cool way to do it. Because the high-value loot zones we got in Urzikstan, we were stuck with for 12 months. But, we'll see.
What are your thoughts on those 3 POIs being the high-value loot zones for this season?
Superstore obviously has to be one.
Obviously.
So that's good. Not that I like that POI, but I recognize there are other people and they would want that, so that's good. Military base is weird, and there aren't a lot of like small rooms, so it's gonna feel weird for there to be a bunch of loot outside by the tents or something.
Yeah.
Not like it's impossible, but it's kind of odd. And then hospital, I fucking hate that because
hospital and superstore though were like the 2 hottest drops, so that makes sense. I'm with you though. Millie seems like a weird choice, but also it's smart because it's the furthest north on the map.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like Boneyard needs to be one, but then you kind of got 3 POIs that are right in the middle of the map, essentially almost in a line. So I think it's smart they added Millie to kind of spread people out, I guess, because otherwise just that zone in the middle there from hospital to super is going to be crazy hot. I mean, more than half the lobby would be landing there probably. So
yeah,
I think it's good they do it this way, but yeah, I agree. A little weird.
Yeah. Overall, fine with it. And yeah, you don't want them all like 3 POIs right next to each other. Yeah, you're correct. So that's cool. I'll take this. And then they talk about supply boxes. I'm not reading this, but there are reusable ones that replenish every 90 seconds. Is that the current timer?
Yes, I believe so. 90 or 120.
That seems fast.
It seems fast, but think of how fast the game is right now. 90 seconds, it's like you're already long gone by that point.
True.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, you're right. So, okay. Duffel bags, medicine cabinets, and weapon lockers as sources of loot have been removed to better service the classic feeling of Verdansk. So again, they're changing dumb shit like this to better service the classic feeling of Verdansk. Getting shock charge blast trapped does not service the classic feeling of Verdansk fucking at all, but we'll get there.
I don't know why you keep bringing that up, man. It was pretty obvious in that blog post we covered they wouldn't be in the game because they weren't in that list.
Yeah, fuck did it seem that way.
I don't know why you keep yapping about it. Let's just keep reading, I guess.
Maybe
weird and getting so mad about something that's not going to be in the game.
Yeah, you're right. Fuck, is that weird? You're right. So anyway, I mean, yeah, duffel bags, medicine cabinets, weapon lockers, don't care. Yeah, whatever.
It has felt weird, not like it really matters, but it's felt weird to still have those post like backpack looting and weird Warzone 2 looting we had with the whole how you opened something up and you had to fucking click on them. God, do you remember that? Oh my God.
Yes.
You had to like open a duffel bag and click on it. Holy shit. God, that game was terrible.
Yeah.
My God. Really but anyways.
Really bad stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense they removed them finally.
Yeah, it's fine. Next is an important section, second chance mechanics. The following items have been fucking removed from loot. Okay, you can't loot them. Gulag
removed, huh?
Tokens, reinforcement flares, and redeploy tokens. What the fuck's a redeploy token? Is that the redeploy pack that hasn't been in the game for fucking months? Is that what this means? Okay. There aren't redeploy packs anymore, are there? I've been playing, unfortunately, hours a day, usually, and I haven't seen a redeploy pack in months, literally. I'm not joking. Me or anyone I play with. Okay, yeah. So they're not in the game, and they said they're removing them. So that's fine. Doesn't bother me at all. These are good things to not have lootable. Gulag tokens, flares, and redeploy tokens. I could see an argument maybe for Gulag tokens and flares existing, but probably not, honestly. So, and I was going to say even if they are, like, buy them only, but whatever. The only available methods to return after death are winning your Gulag, getting bought back from a buy station, or the jailbreak public event. Great. Fantastic. One question I have, are go again gulags going to be a thing? Because that also contributes a lot to the, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but it contributes some to the lack of a BR feeling we have right now. Your life not mattering. You get to go twice. But that's not a big deal. This is good. Your life is going to be way more valuable. Namely, Gulag tokens. That was the biggest thing. You could buy them for 4K, which is awfully cheap, and they're never sold out because they're, I think it's like 2 per buy station or something. But then there are also balloons to go to check another buy and portable buys that creates more balloons and tokens and everything else with a limited amount. And they were just super common loot. So like you would just always find them. Like we never buy them because you just find them so often. So that getting taken away itself is going to be a huge deal. It's going to make your life matter way more. So that's good. Self-revive kits can now only be acquired from the following sources. Legendary supply boxes, random drop. So orange crate. And only orange crates. So you won't get a self out of a blue crate anymore. Or whatever, gray, any other color. Very good stuff. Very good shit. Because this is a massive L. Do they talk about what perks are going to be lootable, by the way? Because here's something really
I don't remember them even saying that.
I hope they do, because...
Removed. Yep.
Good shit. Okay, because right now, there's a very toxic environment where you will find 8 self-revives and the Shrouded perk 8 times per circle in a game of Warzone. So every time you down someone, they are sitting in smoke with a self-revive, probably using the Survivor perk, and they pop right back up. Right the fuck back up. And you just have to down everyone twice. And they're impossible. Yeah, it's extremely toxic right now. So this changing, great shit. Great shit. Excellent shit. This is a good way to return to the roots, or whatever the fuck they're saying about Verdansk. So random drop from orange crates, you can get a self. You can get it randomly from doing a scav. You're not guaranteed. You can buy it at a buy station for 4K or for free if it's a fire sale, public event. So hot take, maybe you should only be able to buy self-revives. That should be the only way to acquire them. However, this is a massive, massive upgrade from where we are right now.
Yeah.
Depending on what random drop means. Because could be in 80% of orange boxes and then we're right back to square one. And they've done that before with selfs, with kill streaks, with counter UAVs, with Samuel turrets, etc.
Yeah, well, don't forget, they also said there will be less legendary supply boxes. I'm curious how that looks outside of high-value loot zones. Because in the high-value loot zones, I'm sure there will be millions still. So everyone will have self-revive in that area. But, because that is the way it used to be, I mean, there would be like 2 legendary supply boxes in like a 200-meter radius or something. It was pretty low at times. That's what it felt like. So hopefully that's true, because that is one really big thing you notice when you go back and watch Verdansk clips. People just did not have self-revive. You would down, you'd be playing quads, you down 3 guys, they would all just be laying there. You'd kill the 4th guy, the whole squad would get wiped. Now, it really has been for the last, I mean, this isn't even a BO6 thing. This is going back to the launch of MW3, basically. Every single person ends up having self-revive, always, yeah. So this will be a nice little change, I think.
Oh, yeah.
A great change. Also, I think they mentioned in the gulag that, or in the blog post, that those things are gone. Like, there's no go again. Not positive, but I thought we read that somewhere. I would imagine that stuff's gone, though, yeah.
I would imagine that, too, but I also would have imagined we wouldn't have shock charges. So, I don't know. Until I see it with my own 2 little eyeballs, I don't trust anything anymore. So we'll get into it. But good. Yeah, great change. Death tax. Cash dropped upon death has been adjusted to assist players returning from the gulag, providing them with a larger portion of their previous cash balance for mid to late game recovery. So 50% of the money on you when you die will drop on the ground. 50% you will keep instead of 20% as you enter the gulag. Previously, 50% of the cash balance dropped on the ground, with players keeping 20% and 30% being entirely removed from the economy. After months of playtesting, we noted that
playtesting,
that regain in the mid to late game was almost impossible for a Raven dev, I guess. So the design intent of this is to better allow players to redeploy with a little more cash to give them a slight leg up when it comes to getting back into the flow of the game.
Okay, are they talking about like internal playtesting of this build of Verdansk? Because if they're talking about like when they were playtesting and they've been just playing Urzikstan or something.
Oh yeah, good question.
That's just flat out obviously wrong. So this must just mean playtesting this update. They realized it wasn't working, so they made this change. Because yeah, I mean, it's incredibly easy to regain
On Urzikstan, yeah.
Yeah.
At any time. At any
time ever. Yeah, there could be 3 people left and you can regain and win the game, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, well, this may or may not be good. I don't know. It's impossible to talk about the economy till you play the game. So, you know, if I keep 50% of my money, but there isn't as much money around, fine. If there's a fuck ton of money around, like Original Fortune's Keep launch, anyone remember that? Then delete all my money when I die, and there would still be too much on that map. So this entirely depends on just how much money's around and how many contracts are around. And until I know and we play it, I have no idea what the economy is like. So you don't want too much money, because then you're going to get the fuck streak spammed out of you, especially if they're going to be unlimited again. But you don't want too little money, because then buying your loadout's a pain in the ass, and that's the whole reason we play Warzone. So, like right now, there's too much money, but it's not insane like it has been in the past. But like, it's okay. So if we're anywhere near that, I think we're fine. But I have nothing to say on this death tax thing until we play it ourselves. It just entirely depends on how much money's around. So,
yeah.
No idea. Interactions with loots now require more precise aiming to reduce accidental item pickups, resolving most unintended looting situations, such as inadvertently picking up items during reloads. You know what else would help?
Controller shitter fucks. Imagine picking up an item when you're trying to reload.
Would help
Stupid
with
fucks.
accidental item pickups? If you didn't put every item in the exact same pixel. Let's do the big circle of loot like we used to have. That would be a cool return to classic Verdansk roots moment that I guess we're not getting. Okay, cool. I want all the bad things about the classic experience, but none of the new things. Got it. That are good. None of the good new things. Only the bad new things to sully the classic Verdansk experience. But everything that was bad about the classic Verdansk experience, let's keep those things so that it feels classic, but we'll ignore all of the things that were better back then. And then still claim that we're doing it so that it feels classic. That makes sense to me. Fuck, does it make perfect sense to me. And it'll make even more sense when I play it. And this doesn't reflect the patch notes at all. And I'm not bugged. Rarity outlines now gradually fade into view only when players are within a logical proximity, rather than remaining visible at all distances. Okay. Okay, man. Okay, sure. Loot cards are now centered over items to improve readability, particularly when combined with floating loot. You know what else would help with readability, by the way? If the loot was in a neat circle around instead of all in the same pixel, like we used to have back in the day. That was a good classic feature, so we're not getting it back, obviously. Instead, they're going to do Band-Aid bullshit fixes like these. Loot cards remain at a fixed height rather than moving with the player's view, and they are hidden when players sprint, dive, slide, or use tacticals, lethals, or field upgrades, but not when they shoot. Keep in mind, they will hide the loot cards when you're doing everything, but the one most important time to hide them, when you're shooting your gun. I hope I'm missing something. This is unbelievable. Not that it matters that much, to be fair. To be ultra clear, I don't need the loot cards hidden probably ever. But if you're gonna hide them during what you think are important times, perhaps the most important possible time for me to be able to see other people is when I'm shooting my fucking gun. But instead, it'll only be hidden when I'm sprinting, diving, sliding, using lethals, tacticals, or field upgrades. Can't look at loot when I'm throwing a muni, but doesn't matter when I'm trying to shoot someone. Activision devs don't play their own game, obviously. Obviously. How do you overlook that?
When do you even notice a loot card when you're shooting? I barely notice loot cards, period. I don't even know. Don't you have to be staring at the gun and like ADS data and like looking at it for a little while before it even pops up? I can't even think of what the loot card looks like.
I have no idea.
So yeah, this doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't, but it's an example of just the devs being fucking retarded. If you're going to hide it, also hide it when I'm shooting my gun. You're right, it doesn't matter. Never hide it. That's the better option. Don't hide it at all. Instead of developing that feature, develop the loot spreading around in a circle. But if you're going to have the feature, hide them when I'm shooting the fucking gun. And it could matter if I'm trying to drop shot someone and there's a bunch of fucking loot in front of me and the loot cards are still going to be showing up inside of my face when I'm ADSing and shooting.
Yeah, that might happen. Yeah. Yeah, that's like the only time I could think of that happening, really.
That's the only time I think
I couldn't
it could
even
be
tell
relevant.
you what a loot card looks like at all right now. At all. No idea.
I couldn't either. Again, I don't think this matters. It could matter for the drop shotting thing. Even then, I don't think it really matters at all. However, again, it's just insane that if you're gonna hide them ever, you don't hide them when you're shooting your gun. It's completely insane. It's an example of the devs. That's it. So hopefully I'm misunderstanding. That's possible because I can't read, apparently, according to what we now know about the last blog post and what it didn't in fact say that I thought it said and that all of Twitter thought it said. So we're all illiterate. Who knows what the fuck this means? Anyways. Today's episode is brought to you by our Patreon, where you won't hear ads like this. And we give bonus episodes every month, 3 of them. You also get the public feed, ad-free, as I just said, and early access as well. Normally, that starts at just $5 a month at the gold tier, which is the most bang for your buck. You get all that stuff I just mentioned, 3 Call of Duty bonus eps a month, and you could go above and beyond if you wanted a Q&A and behind the scenes ep or a hangout every month with Tanner and I. This month, we're getting Verdansk, obviously, or we already have it when you're hearing this. And so what we've decided to do is starting on the 11th of April through till the end of the month, we're offering free trials for the gold tier. That way you can risk-free get a feel for what the Patreon's like, enjoy the ad-free eps, and I think most importantly for this month, especially with Verdansk and all the other changes we're getting, the bonus episodes. Because there's going to be a ton of strategy and impressions and tips and all that stuff to talk about starting this month. So this would be a great time for you to check out the Patreon, check out the bonus episodes, see if you enjoy that content. And then if you do, you can sign up. It's only $5 for the cheapest tier. And that gives you all the Call of Duty bonus content we offer. Again, you also get ad-free and early access on the public episodes, no ads on the bonus episodes either, obviously. So if you wanted to check that out, go to patreon.com/thedropshot. Probably wait till the 11th unless you really want to support us, because that way you can do the free trial. And the Patreon is the best way you guys can and do support the show. It's where we make the bulk of our income. So it's incredibly important and appreciated. Thanks, W. Verdansk, hopefully. Let's get back to the show. Classic fucking buy stations. Vertical redesign. Cool. The buy station looks different. Got it. There's a redeploy all button. We covered that.
You should like this buy station thing, man. This is good for controller players now that you're a controller brain.
Brain rot, yeah. Each entry in the vertical buy now shows the icon of its respective item, as we found that this vastly sped up the at-a-glance navigation and playtesting. Cool.
Did it not
I like
in
that
the
a
OG?
lot. I like that a
OG
lot.
game or something, I wonder? I don't remember.
I don't
There's
remember.
no icon there in OG.
I don't remember, but this is a very good change. Because, yeah, reading's hard. Just show me the pretty picture so I know what I'm buying easier. That's a good change. That's a good idea. And now players can easily see how many of an item they already own while in the buy station before making a decision on what to purchase. I don't exactly know what this means. Do you mean that we own as a team? Or that's on my character? Because I can only hold 1 kill streak, 1 field upgrade, 1 gas mask. So that's good. This is good info either way. I like this either way. I am just curious what this means.
It sounds like, yeah, it's probably for just your character, I would assume.
Yeah. Maybe. But we'll see. We will see. Okay, category subheaders. We appreciate that for new players, being able to see the equipment category like killstreak or field upgrade is helpful to know what item slot will be equipped or swapped when an item is purchased. Oh, so they write like, this is a field upgrade. This is a, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's all good. Not a huge deal either way, but I actually like all of those things, so that's cool. Let's see. Buy station spawn locations will spawn in the same exact 30 static locations across every match.
So that's not what they said in the blog post at all, right?
Nope, it's not.
This is, yeah. So what? So they changed their they don't. Yeah, that blog post I guess was just chock full of lies because that's literally not what they said at all.
That's not at all what they said.
It said there are a possibility of like this many, and it will be different every time. But I don't know. It was something weird.
It was
definitely
unclear
not this.
because it was written by Call of Duty. Yes,
but this is good. So it's exact 30 static locations every match. Okay, good, great. Wish you had just said that originally. Perfect.
And also wish you would mention here, we heard your feedback, so we just changed it. They write a million little italicized blurbs. Put one here. But whatever. This is better. So good. We've updated the prices of the various items in the buy station as follows. I think these are different than the blog post numbers too, by the way. Or there's more detail here. A plate's $300, a cluster's $3K. A PA is $5K. A UAV is $6K. Okay.
That sounds different.
I think that's different. I don't remember. And they've retroactively edited the blog post like they've done before this year.
Yep.
Without notating it. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta find this now. Hold on. So let's do precision.
You have to go to... You're gonna have to go to our YouTube because they could have just doctored it without mentioning it. So, I don't know.
Is this even... Oh, they have so many blog posts. This isn't even the right one. I'll never even be able to find it, actually. Patch notes. Return to Verdansk. Let's see here. I just can't even find it now. Yeah, there are way too many blog posts.
They hit it. Yeah. While Tanner looks, Laloy! Welcome back! Tier 1 to 8 months. Sub on Twitch. Thank you, big dog. You are an old frog. Or an old head, I should say. I don't know how old you are in real life, but I recognize that name from BO4. Laloy, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're excited for Verdansk. I am.
Yeah, he might be right. They didn't say
everything.
It was just in the screenshot. That might be it.
Maybe. Whatever. Either way.
Yeah.
These are the numbers we have now. But, yeah. So, again, cluster 3K, PA 5K, UAV 6K. I think I'm okay with all those numbers. Gas mask 3K, self-revive 4K, Muni 2.5, armor box 4K. That's a little odd. If anything, well, no, I guess that's fine. And then loadout markers. If you're playing solos, it'll cost 6K. If you're playing duos, trios, or quads, it'll only cost 10K. This is a big change. Because right now, in trios, it's 12.5, and in quads, it's 15K. But now it's going to be 10K for both of those, which is almost like it was back in the old days, back in my day, excuse me. For everyone, every squad size, it was a 10K loadout, period. Solos or quads. This, again, I don't really have that much of an opinion on because we have no idea how much money's on the map.
Exactly. It's irrelevant because we have no clue.
Yeah.
Prices could be anything.
Exactly.
All depends on how much money. But the contract multipliers is the one thing that could really make things feel like they're too cheap, possibly. If you're doing two contracts, and at that point, your team's got like, between looting and doing two contracts, I mean, you guys have like 35,000 or something. That's going to be a lot for these prices. So I don't know. It all depends on that.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about the economy. One thing you can say, though, is that, like, you can look at the UAV to loadout ratio. That's a pretty expensive UAV.
Yeah, that is true. Yep.
That's a pretty expensive UAV, which I'm not necessarily super against. Because, again, we don't know how much money's on the map. But just something to kind of keep in mind. In an advanced UAV is going to cost almost 2 loadouts. 18K. So, okay. The buy station can now be accessed from any angle, including behind it, providing increased flexibility during tense engagements. I actually like this change. Because right now you can't stand like on the side of the buy and hit it. You have to like get in front of it a little more. But being able to hit it from any angle is cool. Not a huge deal, but cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Movement adjustments. They write a lot of words. Okay, none of them matter. I just read them. So, crouch movement speed has been reduced by 10%. So you crouch walk 10% more slowly. This doesn't matter. If anything, this is good. Stop crouch walking. Crouch to stand speed increased by 15%. This is starting to be very good, but if that's all they changed, it doesn't really matter. That doesn't take long to do. It's more like crouch
when you
to stand
spam it, it
and
does.
stand to crouch. Well, yeah, sure. Well, let's keep reading. But that's 15% is a lot. Crouch to stand speed while ADS'd increased by 39%. So I never knew that standing up from crouch took different amounts of time whether I was ADS'd or not. Did you know that? Is that even real?
I didn't know. No.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know there's a difference.
I'm calling bullshit on these numbers. I don't believe this is going to work. But whatever. Okay. Prone movement speed, so how quickly you crawl, is reduced by 5%. Okay. So
Based.
imperceptibly. Sprint movement speed reduced by 4.9%. Yikes. Big fucking yikes. Does this include tack sprint movement speed?
That's what I don't understand. And does anybody have a solid answer? Because that's what I said in Discord, and somebody was like, isn't tactical movement speed just a bonus on top of sprint? So wouldn't that include it? I'm like, well, I don't think so. Because also in other patch notes, they have specifically mentioned tactical sprint speed, right?
Yes.
So if they're mentioning it that way, I would think it's totally different. So if this is just sprint speed, it doesn't matter that much. If this includes tack sprint too, then it's a much bigger difference. Yes.
I agree. I agree with that take exactly. Yeah. So if I can't like pull out my knife and move at the same speed I move now, if that's reduced by fucking 5%, dude, that's going to be enormous and extremely noticeable. And you might be thinking, well, wait, You said the crouch to stand speed increase of 15% was small. How is 5% bigger than 15%? Okay, well, I tack sprint the entire game, and I tack sprint way faster. So 5% of like 9 meters per second or 8 meters per second is a big deal versus 15% of like the 30 milliseconds it takes to stand up. Okay, now it's 25 milliseconds. Who fucking cares? It's a way bigger deal. And think of it this way. The lightweight perk from various COD multiplayer games is always around like 4 to 6%. I'm pretty sure. I'm virtually certain. So if you notice the difference between the lightweight perk and not having it, you now know what 5% is like. So if this does apply to tack sprint speed, huge L. If it doesn't, L. Standard L. I don't think this is necessary, but if it doesn't apply to tack sprint speed, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Where this will be the most noticeable is when you're in like a close range gunfight, SMG v SMG, and you're like running someone down. It's going to be harder to do that. So let's say I am in a building with you and you rip my shit and I want to like run away and plate. I'm going to take out my melee and I'm going to start tack sprinting away from you and like plate or stem or whatever. But when you're chasing me, you really shouldn't pull out your melee weapon because you want to be able to shoot me at any time as soon as you can find the line, the angle again. So like I have the luxury of taking out my melee weapon because I'm not going to try and shoot you when I'm one shot, but you want to get the full kill. So you're going to keep your SMG out, which is where your sprint movement speed is going to be very relevant. So it's going to make it harder to chase people down, and it's going to make it easier to slip away from people if this only applies to sprint and not tack sprint. If it also applies to tack sprint, none of what I said matters. Everyone just moves slower all the time. So could have some implications. I don't love it though. And 4.9% technically, that's a lot. That's a big number for sprint speed.
Yeah, I see people in chat there are people confident in their answer, and then there are also people saying like two different things. So that's nobody actually knows. Like I'm trying to find an old blog post or something where they've mentioned anything like this. The only thing you can really find is like when they talk about weapon balancing related to movement, they'll say sprint speed and then they'll say tactical sprint speed, and they'll change both of those numbers. So I have no clue. Yeah, I don't know. I would think they would note tactical sprint speed in these patch notes, but
I would too. But again, like we're going to get there, but we read the blog post and everyone, including you and I, thought they were getting rid of shock charges, for example, among other things.
Yeah.
And then it turns out they're not. So whatever they had written in the blog post was indescribably unclear for us and lots of people on Twitter. So like before this week, I would have attempted to answer this, but I don't know. I truly don't know. I guess I never know what COD is saying. So yeah, I don't know. Not a great change either way, but we'll find out. I mean, we'll find out on Thursday. Overall, I mean, whatever, we'll adapt, but like, you know, you're sprinting 5% slower. You might be tack sprinting 5% slower by extension, or a slightly different percentage number. The math on that is too complicated for me, but we'll say 5%. And then there are no balloons. So yeah, you're gonna be moving a lot slower. We'll see how that plays. And then directional sprint animation blend speeds increased for improved fluidity. And I know exactly what that means. So let's try it. Directional sprint animation blend speeds increased. Okay, so if you're like
sprinting like left to right,
I guess, yeah. So like if you're sprinting left and then you start sprinting forward, your character animation for what your feet are doing is going to change more rapidly so that it looks more fluid. That's what I think this means, but I know nothing about these patch notes anymore or anything they write. So that's my guess, and I may or may not be right. So last week I'd be very confident that's what this means because it's written in English and I speak that. But this week I have no idea because I was wildly misled from the blog post. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's what they say. These values bring Warzone's movement speed closer to the spirit of the original experience while still preserving the fluidity of BO6. We encourage players to go hands-on with these fine-tuned changes as they can be hard to express in a patch note. The proof is in the pudding. You know what? I bet you it could be done. I bet you could describe what the fuck you changed. Someone could. You guys can't, obviously, but someone could. Don't say writing patch notes is too hard. Just go fucking play it yourselves. But whatever. I mean, that's what we're going to have to do. And also, this is correct. Slowing down the player movement speed will make it feel more like original Warzone because everyone says, oh, I loved the movement. It was so fast back then. And none of them realize it was way fucking slower than what we have now. So that's not
it was
COD's
more
fault,
fluid,
but
it was definitely more fluid. And I think that's what people usually bring up.
That's what they're saying.
The overall feel was not. So if this is somehow a little bit slower overall, but well, we have some other big changes that we'll get into in a second here, but if it feels more fluid and almost as fast, then I think this is just a W. But it's hard to say.
The big thing that's missing here, where this would have felt like a more worthwhile trade-off, is the all stance change speeds increased, not just specifically crouch to stand. So what stance changes do we not have increasing? Stand to crouch, stand to prone.
I'm assuming that
crouch
includes
to prone.
both. I'm really assuming that includes both, and they just don't describe it that way.
So you think drop shotting is going to be faster now?
No, crouch to stand and not drop shotting.
So crouch to stand and stand to crouch, you mean?
Yes, I think those are both getting buffed, but I don't think drop shotting is correct.
Okay.
I think you just spam crouch faster because it is really slow right now. If you try to spam it, you get put in that lock and it's very, very slow. And that was something else too. Like even some of those clips you've been posting on Twitter of like me using the Swiss and stuff, you can see in some of those how much faster back then you went from crouch to stand. So I'm assuming that's both. And I think that will be a very nice change to have. Because I mean, it doesn't make sense to just do it from crouch to stand, but who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Nobody. They don't even know.
So we literally have no idea. I hope you're correct because that would be way better. But regardless, it doesn't sound like, though I could be wrong, drop shotting is getting faster.
No,
that would be fantastic.
Yep.
That could make this maybe a worthwhile trade-off, but we're not getting that, and that's a shame.
And that's one of the things you've seen people talk about the most, honestly, with the movement is that speed being slow, and that's something they didn't touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course they didn't. So cool. Anyway, jump cooldown. Reduce the cooldown by 40% of jumping for improved responsiveness during repeated jumps. This is cool. This is good. This is much better written, by the way, than whatever they said about this in the blog post. They were very unclear. This is clear and obvious. It can be done. Try harder, guys. But yeah, you can jump 40% sooner successively. Great.
So maybe bunny hopping's back. We'll see.
So bunny hopping may or may not be back. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, Omni Sprint side and back speed scaling reduced by 8.5% to better balance strafe movement.
K-Bam buff. Doesn't matter for controller players, only helps K-band players. You're getting rotational anyways, doesn't matter how fast the guy is whatsoever, so I like this change a lot.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think this matters at all because, well, actually, okay. So does this mean, so you can't omni sprint while ADS'd. So the ADS strafe speed is actually totally unaffected, going left, right, or backwards, first of all. So the only thing that might be relevant is if I'm left strafing while hip firing full auto, am I omni sprinting while firing, or am I just moving while firing? Because if that is also not an omni sprint, then this doesn't matter fucking at all.
Yeah, you're right, actually, huh?
But I don't know. I don't know if it constitutes an omni sprint if I have like auto attack sprint on and I strafe left and start hip firing. I don't know if that counts. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If this was like the ADS move speed, yeah, this would be a massive deal. But since it appears not to be, then I don't know. We'll see. So, and then slide friction has been increased by 4% to reduce overly slippery engagements. Okay. So
basically, don't slide as far. You think? Is that what they mean?
Yes. Yeah. You like you grind to a halt sooner.
Okay.
And again,
like
they tried to say this in the blog post and they worded it much worse than this. This is clear. Good job, guys. You did it here. Do it 2 paragraphs ago. But anyway, that doesn't sound like a lot to me, honestly. I guess I'll have to play with it, but if I can start my slide just as easily, meaning I won't dead slide often, but I just don't get as deep of a slide, I'm okay with that. Unless 4% is way more than I think it will be, but I don't think it's going to be. I think this is fine. I don't think it's necessary, but I can understand why they want to do it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously what they're going for is like they're talking about here also about trying to get smoother gameplay while striking a better balance for Warzone's fast-paced encounters. So overall, everything, well, not everything, but in general, it might feel a little bit slower. But if it's more fluid, the movement, then I think, for me personally, I would like that. And I mean, they have to do something. This is obvious. I'm surprised they didn't nerf movement even more, because players coming back, let's be super clear, are going to fucking hate Omni movement. They're going to get shit slammed one time, and they're going to be so mad. So I'm surprised they didn't nerf it harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the player counts obviously aren't the best right now. And that's going to kill the game off pretty fast, is when kids get shit slammed.
I agree. But there's really nothing they can do about that, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah. I think if they want to like nerf it so that newer players or returning players don't get slammed. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Unless they remove Omni movement, they're going to get slammed either way. Unless they nerfed it so fucking hard that all the people that like it lose their minds. I don't think there's much winning for them here, basically. So I guess this is fine. By the way, I'm going to read this. Here's what they say about these changes. These adjustments address the dominant power of strafe engagements while maintaining fluidity for mechanics such as sprinting, strafe reloading, and general navigation. Okay. So I don't know exactly what they mean by the dominant power of strafe engagements. I think that, so I don't know, but my guess is that implies that you will be strafing 8.5% more slowly while hip firing your gun. I think that's what a strafe engagement means here. I don't know, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
So, and that is going to be a pretty big buff to KBAM, because you can strafe fire the fuck out of people, to be clear. So, on controller especially, which I'm on. All right, next is contracts, classic contracts. We're getting recons, supply runs, contract multipliers. They go into details, so you get a 30% cash bonus, stacking up to a maximum of 150% additional cash rewards. I can speak. And that, again, I have no comment on until I know the state of the economy in the game. Okay, so there will not be, at launch at least, big game bounties, signals intelligence contracts, which is where you hack the contracts and get payments over time, which are nuts, by the way, or spy drones, which are just annoying. And they drop a UAV. And then we're going to have bounties, most wanteds, recons, scavs, and supply runs. I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Sounds perfect.
Contract spawn rates have been adjusted throughout base BR to enhance distribution and improve overall gameplay balance. That's good. They do it well. We'll see.
That also tells us nothing.
I mean,
like what?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? They've been adjusted. I mean, okay. Are there less of them? Are there more of them? Just tell us like there are 10% less bounties. There are 40% more most wanteds. Like that sentence means literally nothing. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. Payout updates. Contract payouts have been updated to align more closely with values reminiscent of the Verdansk era, although not exactly matching them. Oh, the amount of money you get. Okay. Yes. Okay. Completing a most wanted no longer results in a supply cache drop. I like that. Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe we'll know what this means. Recon contract progress, quality of life change. Because they said they were going to show the radius or whatever, and no one knew what that meant. Added upward arrows indicating how much faster a recon contract is being captured by your team, depending on how many players are in the target location assisting with the capture. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. All right, so here are the possible public events. They disabled a bunch. But now we'll have fire sales, jailbreaks, loadout drops, obviously, and then restock.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Cool. Next section is called equipment.
Oh boy.
Troll Despair.
Yeah.
Classic. Thermites. In Season 3, Thermites return. Cool. Unlike previous versions, Thermite no longer guarantees a kill upon sticking an opponent. It will, however, deal sufficient damage to down players with 2 armor plates or fewer. Okay. So we want the classic experience, but if I can stick someone with a lethal, I shouldn't get it down. I don't understand this fucking at all. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Okay. So that does answer our question, by the way, because we thought they said this, but not the end of the world, but that does make Thermites a lot worse because maybe they were too good. I don't know, man. I don't think that's the right nerf, though. I think if you get fucking stuck with anything, you should probably die. That's pretty hard to do. Especially with Omni movement. I don't know. Whatever. I don't think it's that huge of a deal. Thermite now instantly explodes vehicles if their health reaches 0 from its damage ticks. Similar to C4. Oh, okay. Got it. So instead of disabling and then waiting, it'll just immediately blow it up. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. And then other adjustments. The following is an outline of the full arsenal of lethal and tactical equipment, including how to acquire them. Great. We've already covered this, so maybe we shouldn't, but we'll go over it.
Yeah, we don't even need to.
This is a blog post, right? So. Yeah. Available via map loot. C4s, frags, mollies, semtex, spring mines, thermites, throwing knives. Okay, great. So no blast trap, no impact grenade, and others. Tacticals. Stun grenade, decoy grenade, experimental gas, which technically was in the original game. So fine. Although I don't know if it wasn't as strong back then or if no one was smart enough to use it. I actually don't remember. But we're keeping those, but I guess they were in the original game, so sure. Flashbangs, smoke grenades, snapshot grenades, and stim shots. Okay, cool. So all the OG equipment. I hate gas grenades. They never should have been added ever, but whatever. They want a classic experience. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another table.
What do you mean? Isn't that everything?
There's another table. That's what I thought, and that's what the blog post heavily implied, said, and led me, you, and everyone to believe. But lo and behold, there's another table. Only available via customizable loadout. Blast traps. Impact grenades. Thermo grenades. Neurogas mines. Shock charge. Oh.
That's not good, man.
Well, I've seen some of you in chat being like, oh, why are you so mad? This is why. For two reasons. Number one, the blog post, again, I'm not even going to pull it up and read it because they could have just rewritten it without saying they've done that. They did that a month ago where they wrote a blog post saying something, and then the next week we were like, oh wait, that was a lie. So we went back to the blog post and they just erased it and didn't put a note in or something. They just doctored the original blog post. And we were being gaslit. We thought they were crazy. So we went and watched our old episode where we were live going over it. And we were like, no, it was fucking there. They just erased it. So I can't even go back to the blog post. I could pull up our old episode. I won't be doing that live to you guys. But regardless, everyone I know was like, except Jake was like, wait, maybe this doesn't mean what everyone thinks it means. He was right, I guess. Everyone thought we were not going to have any of this goofy shit. Because in the blog post and in these patch notes, they have been stressing over and over and over, constantly reiterating, we want this to feel like classic Verdansk you remember from 5 years ago. We want this to align more closely with the classic experience. We want it to feel like OG Verdansk again, like you remember from 5 years ago. That's why they're doing all the dumb shit they shouldn't be doing, like shooting people out of the air, though that's not that big of a deal. Removing PA noties will unfortunately get into that also. And other things. I don't remember right now, but we just went over them, so rewind. And other things I'm sure we're going to get into. So they want a classic feeling. You know what doesn't feel fucking at all like 5 years ago? Running into a building, being shock charge, blast trap comboed, no counterplay, I'm automatically instantly dead. If that guy isn't moving, I can't hear him, assuming your audio is good enough to hear if he were moving. I can't see him. And let's say he's ghosted. and he's crouch walking around 5% more slowly now. Good nerf. I won't see him, I won't hear him, and I'll just instantly die. That will not at all feel like Verdansk. You know what that guy is doing in OG Verdansk? He's got bouncing betties, they were called back in my day. You can call them spring mines, don't give a fuck. On the ground, I run in and I go, oh shit. And I may or may not press my prone button in time. In this game, takes way too long to prone, which you haven't changed. So even if we did have the original bouncing betties, it would be physically impossible for me to prone and avoid the damage in time. That's a separate issue though. But what it's certainly not going to feel like at all is the original Verdansk getting shock charge, blast trap, combo fucked with no recourse, no counterplay, anti-fun, no agency. I've talked about this fucking many times. Why were they ever added to the game? No one knows. I do. Activision devs don't play their own game. And when they do, the only way they can kill someone is by removing their ability to outplay them by having shock charges, obviously. And remember when we had shock charges, not this long ago, but in old games that would affect anyone, including yourself, if you threw your own shock charge? Pepperidge Farm remembers, so do I. But they had to buff them more, so I can throw down a shock charge and it just doesn't affect me. I've got it. Take them out of the game. This is not going to fucking at all feel like the classic Verdansk experience, and that really makes you wonder, why on earth are they pretending to care about having any fidelity to the classic experience if we're going to leave this horseshit in the game? And you might be thinking, it's not a big deal, Raz. It's just one tactical, and it's not ground loot anymore. First of all, you're retarded. I see shock charges literally every fucking game I play. And it's not because they're on ground loot, it's because people run them in their loadouts, and they're going to continue running them in their loadouts. I'm going to see maybe 2% fewer now. But it's not like I've been shock charged 8 times a match until right now because they're so prevalent in ground loot. Retard. They're in people's loadouts because they're fucking insane. Of course. Yeah. And it's not going to feel like original Verdansk at all because it's going to be every close range gunfight, or many of them, are going to have shock charges. Yep. So, oh, it's only one tactical. Okay. It's only one tactical that everyone uses. So it's a massive deal. That it's always been shit, but it's especially a spit in the face when they try to lie to me and tell me, oh, guys, we're doing all this for a classic experience, and then leave shock charges in. So it's just completely fucking insane. That's why I'm so mad. And this patch won't even go through as intended. Don't forget that. So best case scenario, these are, whatever. Anyway. It's just so
maybe
stupid.
Maybe the patch notes are just wrong and they're actually not even going to be in the game. You never know. I mean, somebody like Breadman, he's been running shock charges for months now in his loadout. It's not because you find them in ground loot. The people shock charging you are the people building loadouts with them. Because I've seen that argument quite often on Twitter. I'm like, these fucking people, they're putting them in their loadouts. The only thing you could say that might be better is if there are less munis on the map or something, maybe people will have less of them. I don't know, but buildings are going to be more toxic, at least until Season 3 Reloaded, when we get zip lines on the buildings, because if you need to push up to a roof to get some guy, like, think of a Prom East building. If you have to push up that to fight a guy, what are you going to do? If there are shock charges, there is no other way to that roof. You either can't push it or you're forced to go through it because there are no ladders on buildings like that. So, this is not good. It's not good at all. And, it's really, really terrible. And I can't believe they left these in. And I'm hoping more and more like big accounts now are starting to tweet and at Raven Software and be like, you guys have to remove these. This is crazy. You're keeping them in. I really hope they end up pulling them out at the latest by Season 3 Reloaded. Hopefully earlier than that, but I don't know. I don't know if they're just going to take tacticals out or lethals out from BO6 when it's BO6's version of Warzone. That's the thing. It's the same thing with wildcards. Wildcards should not be in Warzone. They're not touching them. They're staying exactly how they are because it's a core part of multiplayer, and they try to get them to feel the same, but also different. So we get shit like that doesn't belong in Warzone because that's what multiplayer has. And that's what is happening right now, unfortunately.
Fuck, is that true? Yeah.
So, yeah, not good. Not good at all.
This is a consequence of a negative consequence, one of many, of forcing us to do the reintegration bullshit with Warzone every year. Exactly. Hey, if you want to have this in fucking unranked multiplayer, cringe, fine. I don't care. Not going to bug me that much. But when you force people to integrate, it's in Warzone. So
because there are less buildings on Verdansk, obviously. So that's one thing. But since there are no balloons to get on top of those, there are no repels to get on top of those. When you're forced to fight inside of those, the shock charge deal is going to be a lot worse than what we have now. So don't know how this will play out. Not sure if people will catch on. I mean, with SBMM, if you're a shitter fuck, you're going to get put in lobbies with all of the really bad players that don't even know these exist. So they're going to be running like smoke grenades or something still, or stuns, because the last time they played was 2020. But if you're in high SBMM lobbies, shock charges are going to be busted OP, unfortunately, I think.
Yeah, just like they are
not going to be great.
Yeah, terrible.
Not great at all. Really bad stuff.
Really bad stuff. And like on the one hand, and again, you could also say, oh, well, shock charges have been in all year and they're going to continue to be in. Quit bitching. Okay. Well, I was given false hope by Activision that they weren't going to be in. So that's one problem here. They should have never been in the game at all. That's another problem here. But again, the main thing is they keep constantly saying, we want it to feel like classic Verdansk. And a lot of the things they are doing to make it feel like classic Verdansk are going to be improvements. But also, a lot of the things they're going to be doing to make it feel like classic Verdansk are downgrades, because we have gotten better since then. And we've gotten better mechanics and features that they've fixed problems since then. And we're going to go back to having those problems in the service of, we want to make it feel like classic Verdansk. If you really felt that way, you would not have shock charges in the game. You just wouldn't. This is completely antithetical to the original experience. It's mostly shock charges that are the problem. Gas grenades also, but I don't know how they used to work, or if like, I don't know what the deal is, but no one figured it out for 2 years or 3 years back in the day, maybe, or they just weren't as strong back then. I honestly don't remember because no one used them. So here's another possibility. Everyone runs smoke grenades and this isn't a problem anymore. Hopefully. Because it's a different map and smoke grenades become very important. That's possible, but the tracker perk is still in the game. So then everyone's going to get back on tracker, and then people are probably going to get back on shock charges again, or gas grenades or something, because gas grenades still haven't been nerfed enough and should also not be in the game. So that's the biggest problem, is like, don't tell me you want to give me a classic experience and then put in shock charges. And me coming back with a fucking C9 with extendos, like, among other things. So terrible, 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 terrible fucking news. But let's move on. We're going to have armor satchels, like in the old days, back in my day. And we're going to have Muni satchels that are only available, I guess, via the Bandolier wild card. Excuse me. Available via Bandolier wild card. That implies to me that that's the only way to get it, but I don't know anymore. I can't speak Activision, so that's maybe what this means. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah, so whatever. By the way, take Muni satchels out of the game and wildcards.
Yep.
Because you know what feels even less like classic Verdansk than getting shock charged twice? Is getting shock charged thrice. So I hope that helps. Yep. Just terrible, terrible news. So max armor plates is now 5, and then if you find a satchel, it's 8 instead of 12. That's fine. Whatever. If you kill a player, they will consistently drop at least 1 plate. Okay. I think right now they drop 2 minimum, or maybe it's also 1 minimum. Is it any minimum? At some point it was at least 1 minimum. So I don't know, whatever.
By the way, I wanted to point out in the blog post, they also said this: the original armor satchel takes place of the current armor satchel. All other satchel types, the ammo satchel, are removed, allowing for as close an original Verdansk experience as possible. Okay. But you can just still get the munition satchel via the wildcard. Okay.
Right.
So again, you can't trust what they say ever. You really can't. And this is what pisses me off about when people in chat are like, say things like, oh, it's so obvious they mean this. We've been reading patch notes twice a week for 5 fucking years. You cannot trust what they say when it comes to these things. You can't. You guys always assume, oh, this is obviously what they mean. I agree with you, but we've done this long enough to know that we've been wrong hundreds of times because of how unclear they are. So you just never fucking know. Yep. That was something else we were excited about in the blog post. Yay, no munition satchel. Patch notes. Hey, it's in the fucking game. Just run the wild card. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
They specifically say it has been removed. Nowhere in that blog post did they say anything about you can get it via wildcard. Nothing. It just says it's been removed to bring it as close to an original experience as possible. Got it.
Yeah. Which heavily implies
yes,
that you just can't, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yes. And if that's what they mean, they should say it in the blog post. Put it next to it and say this will only be available via wildcard. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
exactly. It. Exactly. Yeah. So. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I was bamboozled again. So anyway. Gulag armor removed in unranked BR. So you won't have plates in the Gulag. Placing greater emphasis on precision and tactical movement. Okay. I mean, I don't really care that much. And then the armor plate colors received an improvement where the color hue will be darker if the player doesn't have full plates. It'll remain the familiar bright color when your plates are full. This will better indicate to players when they have almost full plates. I actually like this change. I think this is good.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'll still mantle over rather than on top of a thinner high ledge, but this is a good change. So cool. Yeah. Field upgrades will now show in the squad widget, so you can see what field upgrades your teammates have. This may or may not work. By the way, this is a feature we've had multiple times in the past and then didn't have and now have again.
This was introduced in Caldera, I'm almost positive, and we were excited because, when we get a brand new game, Warzone 2 next year, when we get that integration, all of these nice features will be in the game. Yeah.
Fuck, were we baited as fuck by Warzone 2, yeah. Because they were doing all that cool shit at the end of Caldera. And I kept saying, who cares, because there's only 2 months left, but that means we'll have it for Warzone 2. Yay! Fucking idiot! Oh, I was a stupid idiot. But anyway, whatever. The following is an outline of the full arsenal of field ups grades, in a match of BR on Verdansk. Okay, so you can't get a field upgrade from a loadout, right? That's correct, right? You don't get field upgrades from loadouts? Well,
I guess.
Okay, so they stipulate. Okay, you can get a util box from the battle ready wildcard. Besides that, you can't have a field upgrade, to my knowledge, from a loadout. So besides utility box, when they say disabled here, I am assuming, though by no means am I 100% sure, that these just will never be in the game on the launch of Season 3 for any reason. Am I certain? Fuck no. Will I get a deployable buy as a reward for a bounty contract? It's possible. I don't know. Or will they be in the bunkers when those open? Who fucking knows? Here's what they say are disabled field upgrades. That's a quote. You can take from that what you will. I don't know what anything means anymore. Deployable buy stations, disabled. PDSs, which I think they said were going to be in the game. That's what I thought I remembered from the blog post, but I'm a fucking retard, I guess.
I don't remember
know.
that, but yeah, well, I'll take a look.
It's doctored anyway. So this is the Truman Show. It's a clown world. I don't know what's going on. So that may or may not be disabled. I don't fucking know. Portable radars, portable redeploy drones. So the thing where you shoot up in the sky. Redeploy drone beacon. That's balloons, flares, scramblers, and Warcry. Those things are, quote, disabled, and I don't know what this means.
Nope, you're right. That was also in there as being in on launch. It says right there, launch, and it had PDS listed there. So
no one hates the
we have to
enough.
hire back that guy from Raven who was unfortunately let go, and our patch notes were perfect back then. Shout out to that guy. I don't remember his name.
I fucking knew it.
Holy shit, yeah. And that's not what it... I don't think that... I mean, unless they mention something else later. I'll search again for the word. But right here, it just says it's in and it says launch. Oh, and then it says right here, returning field upgrade portable decontamination station mid-season. Got it. But then it's also in a category of field upgrades listed under launch.
Okay, so it's at launch. So it's in at launch. It's also in at Season 3 Reloaded, and it's disabled at launch.
Yeah.
That clears things up. Fuck does it clear things up? What's going on? Oh, but Season 3 is going to save Warzone, guys. Oh, but you guys are just negative all the time. They can't even write words correctly. No one hates the devs enough. It's so simple. It's really that, and myself included. I don't hate them enough.
So many errors, man. Jesus Christ.
Just unbelievable. Unbelievable shit stuff.
Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. To be fair, it does say here, after they listed in field upgrades under a category that says launch, then at the end there's a note, not all the field upgrade and kill streaks will be available in Verdansk at launch. Okay. Then just don't even put it in the list under a category that says launch. Just create a separate category underneath that and say, these will be available starting at mid-season.
Yeah.
Their job is to write patch notes. That is your literal, just about only job. Do it correctly. Please. Please make it clear. That's all you have to fucking do.
Yeah. Yep. So, it's just insane. And the worst part is they used to do it well. They used to do it very well. Remember in Caldera? As many bad decisions as they had, the patch notes and blog posts were so fucking clear. I knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, shout out to that guy who was the community manager
and why. Then. Yeah, you're right. Hire that guy back.
I think his name was Austin something. I haven't seen him tweet in forever. I feel like he probably doesn't have a Twitter account anymore. His name, I think it was Austin, but he was the Raven community manager that wrote the patch notes. And yeah. And we even said when we were happy everyone got laid off, I said, this one guy does a good job. I'm a little worried about that. Yeah. We pointed him out. And now we got this. So fuck them.
Yep.
But anyways.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Just, they have virtually limitless resources. How does this happen? No one knows. Okay, whatever. So anyway, on to the content of this. If I know what the word disabled means, then I think this is good stuff. I like PDSs, so those coming back, if they do, which it might say it will, is good. Fine. And not having them at launch, also fine. Whatever. That's cool. Deployable buys being disabled, those are way too fucking strong. I like them being gone. Portable radars, too strong and too common and too unreliable.
Yeah.
Both if you're using it or if it's being used on you. I never trust whether I'm on the fucking UAV thing or not. Okay. Get rid of them. For sure on board with that. PRDs, I'll miss them a little bit, but they were fucking strong, so that's fine. Portable balloons, we talked about that a lot. That's fine. Flares, good. Scramblers, good. They were just annoying. And then Warcry, good. It's just clutter. So this is fine. But yeah, make it obvious. Anyway, whatever. Heartbeat sensors now last 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. Don't care. No one's going to use them. Well,
yeah, in case you're coming back and new, they're a field upgrade, so you cannot equip it to your loadout.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like a tactical like it used to.
Yep. Classic experience. Kill streaks. Okay. They say adjustments, and then there's a kill streaks table. There's an enabled column, which implies to me these will be in the game. Advanced UAVs are available via activating 3 consecutive UAVs in a row. Cool, just like it is now. Cluster strike, precision airstrike, UAV, and then the supply UAV available via the battle ready wildcard. You can just tell these wildcards just do not belong. But anyway. Disabled kill streaks. And again, I don't know what this word means anymore. Bunker buster. So I guess I'm assuming bunker busters are going to be disabled on launch, but come back season 3 reloaded.
Yep, because that was in the list as, yep.
Okay.
That was in the list as in the game, so that's coming back.
Let's not add these back or remove the gas component of them entirely, but fine. Care packages, that's fine. That's kind of clutter, honestly. Counter UAV, massive W that's getting removed. Foresight, fine, good. Napalm strikes have been disabled because I get those called on me too often. There's never been a napalm strike called in Warzone, by the way. Not once. It never worked, so it was never in the game ever. But we've disabled it. You disabled it months ago. So, okay. And SAM turrets, thank God. Because that's the only thing the announcer tells me. Not when Biffle's diving on my head, but when someone put a SAM turret down 2 clicks away. So good. And they didn't work. All they did was fire at other players' helicopters, which never happened with balloons, so didn't matter. And then sentry turrets, which sucked ass, which is good. Very niche scenarios, they could be okay, but I'm fine with these disabled, so that's good.
Yeah, we need to get all the clutter off the ground. There is far too many items. That was something in the BO6 integration when we read the first set of patch notes going into the game. We said there is way too many items on this list. Way too many items. So I'm glad we're just, in general, getting rid of them. Like care packages, things like that. They were nice. I liked them. I would occasionally buy them. I got excited when you found one. We don't need them. Just get them out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like care packages, they're fine, but like we don't need them. And it's also...
Oh, here we go.
They also created more ground loot clutter as well. So. And then Tanner spoke this one to its existence. So this is Tanner's fault. Precision airstrike indicator. You guys might recall, I don't know if it was on Patreon or a public episode last week. Tanner was like, or maybe it wasn't on an episode at all. I don't remember, but Tanner was telling me recently, very recently, like inside the last 10 days, he was like, dude, you can't believe there are some people who don't want the precision airstrike indicator on the minimap. They just want it to be called in and there's no flight path. My dog is still barking, by the way, loudly, and it's bugging
That's a dog
me.
barker, yeah.
I think he's going to stop momentarily. So we'll wait. It's fine.
It sounds like he's stopping, yeah.
This isn't adding to my...
Is there an intruder in there, man?
Annoyance at all. I don't know.
Should you lock and load that Parabellum?
He punts Kierkegaard, yeah. So anyway. Yeah, Tanner was saying like, oh yeah, there exist people who like hate the PA indicator. And I was like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. I can't believe how bad and retarded many players are who could possibly want this. Because I remember back in my day, there wasn't an indicator. Everyone hated it. And then 4 years too late, they finally implemented it. And I'll add, quite well. The indicator, with one exception, one patch exception, was very reliable. Like if you were outside of it, you were good. Except for one patch. I don't remember which one. Chris posted clips of it. He was way outside the indicator and died. So we're like, fantastic. It's a step in the right direction. So why is this being talked about? I don't want this changed. Quote, to return to the classic feeling of Verdansk, the Precision Airstrike minimap notification that was added last year at the behest of our entire player base, which is why we added it, obviously, has been removed. Woo! Classic experience, guys! Woohoo! Classic experience! Yeah, fuck yeah! That's awesome, man! Everyone wanted it, which is the only reason they added it. But let's take it away again because we want a classic experience. Shock charges? Nah, we'll leave those. Fuck your classic experience when it comes to my precious shock charge. But with the PA good quality of life update we've changed, let's revert it. Let's scrap it. Let's go fuck ourselves. Got it. Here's what they say. We've removed the PA's approximate path indicator on the minimap in order to return back to how it worked in 2020, where part of its purpose was to surprise your enemies. We will monitor feedback data and sentiment on this as we look to the weeks ahead. So what's interesting about this is that they say part of the PA's purpose is to surprise your enemies. Okay, then why do I get a notification at all? Why tell me at all that a PA is coming? Why not just randomly drop it on my ass? If it's to surprise me, why do I get an indicator at all? So don't say you're taking away the path of it on the minimap to surprise people. That's not why you're doing it. I don't know why you're doing it. Actually, unfortunately, I'm looking at my chat right now.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Unfortunate, but I do know why you're removing it. Because of the absolute mongoloids like you people saying this is an L take and PAs are useless if they have an indicator. Okay, cool. So none of you have ever died to a PA since the indicator was added? Huh. That's
this pisses
weird.
me off lots.
Hey, so
this
when
is what I'm
in
saying,
circle
dude.
5 behind a rock in my only piece of cover, and you PA my bitch ass, I guess it's useless since I know, okay, I can clearly see this PA is going to fuck me, or I have to run out of the only piece of cover I have and get fucked by the guys holding me because it's the only cover. Oh, I guess the PA actually is useless in this case. I guess I'm not gonna die right now, whether I stay here and die to the PA that I know is coming and where it's coming, or run out of it and get fucking beamed because I'm on the only piece of cover. Guess their ass. Guess their ass. Guess those guys shouldn't have called a PA on me. Idiots. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
Have you ever played Warzone? Oh,
I want all of you, the first time, which this is all going to happen to you on Thursday when all of you play in chat, the first time you get a PA noti and you start sprinting and you sprint what feels like four full seconds in a direction and you die to that, I want you to look back and remember this moment because you're fucking stupid. And this is what I'm talking about. I can't believe how many players would prefer the no indicator. It blows my mind. This was so clearly an obvious good change. You shouldn't depend on getting kills with a PA. It's honestly as simple as this. If you're a bad player, you like this change. If you're a good player, you think the notification should be on the map. Yeah. Because, I mean, you could call it in on a roof. It'll still get people to move. The point of them should be to move players and get them to stop holding you. If you need to rely on it to get a bunch of kills, then yeah, I mean, I can't believe it. And this is what I'm talking about. More players want this random shit in the game than a notification of it. I don't understand it at all.
So I don't either. So like the example I indicated, obviously PAs are effective in that scenario, even if the indicator's shown. Just like Tanner pointed out, they're also effective if someone's on the corner of a roof holding my rotate in and I need to get them to move for a second so that I can move in. They see that the path is going to be right on their head, so they can either go inside, not die to it, and I get a safe rotate, or stand there and just fucking die. So it's effective in that case as well. Just because the PA doesn't literally get you a down doesn't mean it's not useful. Obviously. Anyone who's a remotely good player is going to recognize this. Now, unfortunately, loath as I am to say it, I get why Activision is doing this. I now understand it.
Yeah, they
because
need shitter fucks
people.
to get kills. Yeah, exactly.
Because of you people.
Yeah.
If a lot of the player base wants no nodey PAs again, or no indicator PAs, and maybe no nodey PAs, because the point is to surprise us, I guess, then you know what? I don't blame Activision for doing this. I blame you fucking people for making them do it. So when you die to many, many PAs, many more than you'll ever get kills with them, by the way, I want you to remember this moment and that you asked for it and you contributed to it.
Yep.
It is your fault.
I agree with what I think it was Jakin said it in court earlier, and it's a good idea. They could have just changed it by keeping the notification on the minimap, the flight path on the minimap, but making the speed the plane comes in quicker. So like, unless you react right away, you're still getting down from it, but at least you know where it's at. I think that would have been a much better change, because it's just so random right now. It's so random and dumb. Like, you could be running across a field and you get a nodie and you think, oh, it's probably going to land behind me. I'm just going to keep running this direction. No, they called it in 40 meters in front of you. It's random. Because where it shows up, you just have no clue. You get a notification for a rough area and it just kills you wherever it feels like it. So yeah, I'm very surprised that as many people want this change as there are. Yeah,
I'm shocked. But I mean, when I first heard this, I wanted to get really mad at Activision, because my thought was, this is so obviously what no one wants that they shouldn't be doing it, and this is out of touch. Boy, was I wrong. I'm learning a lot this week that I can't read, first of all.
Yeah,
I can't read.
Yeah.
That's the number one. I can't read. That's the number one thing I've learned. And the number two thing is, I have vastly overestimated the average Call of Duty player's just knowledge of good mechanics. Vastly. So this isn't Activision's fault. I would love to blame them for this, but if this is what most players want, slop, then okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it in. I guess everyone wants shock charges, by the way. They have to.
I guess so.
They have to. And that would explain.
But it's interesting because everyone wants, the average casual, everyone wants one-shot snipers. Probably 80% of the player base at this point, guess when aren't in. Every gun being a one-shot sniper. They're not. So they're just picking and choosing what they think players want. So I don't even know anymore.
I don't either. Yeah.
Lions must be new here, because he said, are these podcasters calling all their viewers trash? Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Lions are. Most of our viewers are shit cans. Yes.
Correct.
Welcome to the stream, bud.
Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. It's just such it's an absurd take. Yeah. Some people, chat was moving too quickly, but just for those of you listening who aren't going to watch this, some choice selections from chat. I'll paraphrase. You're trash. I would easily 1v1 you in Warzone or something. That made me laugh.
Teabag.
Okay, got it. Lions Teabag, shout out. Oh fuck. What was another one? Oh, another one. Some guy said, I rhetorically asked, I guess none of you have died to a PA since this change. And someone unironically said, I literally have not died to a PA since this change, which may be possible if you've played like an hour since they changed that. But if you played a reasonable amount of time, I just don't believe you. There's no way that's true. Because sometimes you're fucked. You're forced to. PAs are still very good. Just because you don't get a kill with it doesn't mean it's bad. So, by the way, not to mention, many of you that want this are going to die to your own PA, and you're going to be bugged by it also.
Yeah, that happened.
Many
often,
of you are going to die to your own PA, and it's going to fucking bug you. Yeah, so keep that in mind. So I just want you guys to remember, when this change goes through, it's not Activision's fault. It's fucking your fault.
Yeah.
And remember this moment. So hope that helps.
Yeah.
Hope that helps.
God, that's funny. I didn't expect that many people from chat to hold that opinion. I just thought that was a TikTok brain opinion, but yeah, it's not. It's, I mean, obviously the majority of the player base wants it. So yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine Omni diving backwards off of a roof of Prom East into a no noti PA. Fuck yeah, man. Ooh, I got a PA notification. I'm going to jump off the roof. Guess what? The PA was called in the middle of the road where I'm jumping to. I can't wait for you guys to get shit slammed by this on Thursday and remember this conversation and apologize. But that's fine.
So funny, dude.
Only an idiot would run into your own PA. Oscar, stop. Oscar, stop, man. Just stop. God damn it.
He died to a PA. He's such a god. He's better than every pro player. Everyone. He's figured out the genius strat of running outside of the red rectangle, and no one else can figure it out. Because everyone, Biffle's died to a PA. Ahsoka's died to a PA. I've certainly died to a PA. But this guy has cracked the code. He just run out of the indicator, bro.
Yeah.
Not
you are so back.
Oh,
Warzone is
fuck,
back,
it's
baby.
funny. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god, that's sensational. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, look, I was bugged at Activision. I'm not anymore at all. They should do this. It's not good for the game, but if this is what like all these people want, then it looks like it's honestly clearly the majority, which I just can't believe. But
yeah,
okay.
It's clearly the majority. Yeah,
fucking clearly is it the majority?
Yeah, what
so
is within like the last
want,
week? I've learned. I've been shocked often last week at what the average player wants. Just looking at comments on TikTok, Instagram, you truly do realize that Twitter is where, I mean, J-Rock's been right all along. Never wrong, just early. Twitter is only for sweats. Yeah, it really is that simple. And that's where we usually are. Everywhere else, people have complete opposite opinions. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sensational content. So pull out your knife and run horizontally easy. Yeah, go tell Biffle that, man, because he's died to PAs before. So I guess that's never occurred to him or any other pro Warzone player. Just pull out your knife and run horizontally. It's just that. So anyway, whatever. I don't mean to gang up on you, dude, but that's just funny. So, okay. So yeah, again, I mean, I hate this change, but if that's what most people want, then they should do it. Crowded airspace, notification, quality of life. The airspace too crowded message will now appear when a player attempts to pick up or aim down sights with a kill streak in an area where too many aerial kill streaks are currently active. This removes uncertainty about kill streak usability upon looting.
Yeah.
Attempts to pick up or aim down sight with a kill streak. What does pick up mean there?
Yeah, I'm assuming that means beginning to pick up your streak and aim down sight, but it also makes
like pulling it out.
Aim down sight.
No, yeah, you're right.
Oh, like I guess just pulling it out. Yeah. So this is good because right now you're like, okay, I'm gonna PA these guys. I'm PAing, and then you click, and it's airspace too crowded. So this is a good change. Great little change.
This is good. This is also day one shit, and it could be improved further by always having, if I have a kill streak, so if I'm holding a PA at all, whether it's in my hands or like stowed, whatever, I'm holding my gun. By that, there should be some symbol or some text that says airspace too crowded permanently while I can't call it, that disappears when I can call it. So that I don't even have to waste my time pulling out the binoculars. That would be even better. This is still an improvement though. Not a huge deal either way. By the way, before we go on this PA indicator thing, Kobeing is back. So if I see a team rotating in, or that's the only way that many of you in chat, I guess, can conceptualize things happening is through your own eyes.
Yeah.
So when another team is rotating in, you can call a PA in front of them where you think they're going to go, and then you'll kill all of them. And they'll never know because they won't get the notification. They'll be too far away at the time you call it. And there won't be an indicator that ever shows up. So they'll never know until they're dead. This is why you want it, because this takes some skill, I guess. Not much though. So that's going to be cool. So for the rest of us who realize we could be on the other side of this equation, imagine you're rotating in to zone, or not even to zone. You're just moving your character. Lo and behold, all of a sudden, you're all dead to a PA. Because some guy on a roof you don't even see called in a kill streak in front of you approximately, and he happened to get the timing right. High skill play, man. My whole team's dead. Because there's no more balloons and we had to be in a car to move across the map. Really cool. And there will be no recourse. Because we won't get a noti, because it was called before we were in range, and then we drive up to it, and there won't be an indicator, so there will be no way ever to know. Fun. And then when that happens to all of you who really want this change, you asked for it. You asked for it. There's no counterplay. There's nothing you can do at all. You can be the best player on earth. If some guy you don't see calls a PA somewhere where you won't get a noti, you will die to it, and there's nothing you could possibly have done about it. No matter how good of a player you are. And that's a good thing according to many of you. Which blows my mind, but okay. Get that trigonometry going. So, anyway. Lootable perks have been removed as we return to the classic feeling of Verdansk. These may return in a future update depending on feedback. Please fucking God, no.
That's what I heard about feedback, and I thought it would be like shock charges, yeah. By the way, I only got like 20 minutes before I got to bounce. So we either got to zoom through this last area or you'll just have to finish solo.
Okay, yeah. We'll
figure it out when we get there.
We'll figure it out, yeah. But when you need to go, you can just go, yeah. I'll finish if we need to. Yeah, this is fantastic. Lootable perks being gone is just sensational. Never ever should have been added in the game. I do wonder if you'll still drop your perk package when you die and you can come pick it up again if it doesn't despawn in 10 seconds, which it currently does.
That'd be ideal.
I don't know. I want the lootable perk packages, I think, but I actually don't know if they're going to be in based on this. Because those are like lootable perks, technically, right? Hard to say.
I assume that's not what they mean, but we can't assume things anymore ever. So yeah, I just have no fucking clue.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, weapons. They write a lot of words. Okay, I'm gonna read some of them actually. Warzone was designed to deliver the essence of a BR, combining exceptional, precise gunplay within a strategic and intense limited life scenario. While this core principle remains intact, certain distractions have at times impacted the intended pacing and intensity of gameplay. Building upon recent adjustments, such as the reduction of armor reserves to improve economic pacing, we're introducing substantial buffs to weapon damage. Initially, these enhancements will focus on the BO6 catalog, subsequently extending to legacy weapons. Our goal is to increase the lethality of every encounter, reinvigorate overlooked classes of weapons, and encourage players to adopt a more thoughtful and deliberate strategy in preparation for engagements.
Wow.
Basically,
this is what the leakers meant, by the way, when they kept saying every gun meta, and we were like, what the fuck could that possibly mean? Okay.
And of course, that's not at all what this means.
Not at all. No.
Not fucking at all what this means. But I can see why those people who are probably thrilled about the PA indicator disappearing, by the way, would say that. But that's not at all what that means, obviously, yeah. So basically, what they're really trying to do is make the time to kill shorter. So you'll die more quickly. Because back in my day, you only had 100 health plus your plates, 250, rather than 150 health plus your plates, 300. So time to kill now is longer than it was back then. Now, is that good or bad? We'll talk about it. This I hate. And yeah, like that's another thing, like Tanner was saying in the little break we took. Everyone is much better now than they were back then. So if the time to kill on paper of the kilo we're gonna get in season 3 is exactly the same as the time to kill of the kilo we had on paper 5 years ago, when you die to it, it's going to be much faster than before, because people are going to be missing way fewer shots on average, because the average player who still plays Warzone or will be playing Warzone is just much, much better. And having a faster time to kill shrinks the skill gap a lot, and it makes like seeing the other guy first or shooting first more of an advantage than having better aim than the other guy. And this is something we've talked about a bunch in different veins in the last 5 years. But there's a reason they increased the health total 3 years ago, and we've had it since then. Most people wanted that. Higher skill gap. You don't just instantly die to the guy camping in a corner that you never knew was there. You have some sort of a chance, because the time to kill is a bit longer, of getting away, resetting the fight, and taking it again once you've replayed it or whatever. But on the other hand, the faster the time to kill, it's the great equalizer. The better opportunity a less skilled player is going to have to get more kills. This goes back to a video we have on our YouTube from years ago, where we said hardcore versus core multiplayer players are extra dog shit. Because if you're playing hardcore, every gun kills in 1 or 2 bullets. You don't need good aim, good tracking, good movement. You just need to be in a good spot and pre-aim better than other people. And there's like some skill there, but it's a joke. And that's the same idea, though obviously less dramatic, when it comes to raising the time to kill for Warzone guns. So looking back at the notes here, classic weapons, they're talking about what weapons they use. Do they get into any specifics or that are getting added on like time to kill? I'm just going to say it now, because I don't know if this comes up. We have like leaked, or not leaked, I don't know, whatever, proposed time to kill charts of the SMGs that are in the game now. And the new values are like, for the C9, like 550 milliseconds or something.
So like every gun was changed, and after you read these bullet points, there is a category on weapon adjustments where it goes into detail, and there are millions of them. But the TLDR there is every BO6 gun essentially was buffed and will have a faster time to kill. So those Warzone loadout images, that was basically his estimate on what the time to kills would end up being. And now, like, the SMG meta starts around 600 millisecond up close time to kill. And his estimation is the fastest gun now up close will be like 520 or 530 milliseconds, I believe it was.
That's
so probably one of
really
the worst
fast.
SMGs now in the game, I would imagine, I don't know, will probably feel about the same as what the fastest killing SMG feels like right now.
Which would be...
That's subs, right? Somewhere around like 600, starting at 600.
Yeah. So that's not great, in my opinion.
Yeah, if those numbers are true, I'm not excited about that.
The charts I saw were sub 600. They were all like 500 something, which is so fast, so fucking fast. This isn't. Yeah, this is gonna make gunfights feel very. I saw you first, I win every time, or I shot first, I win, or I got that one extra lucky hipfire bullet, you didn't, I win. Or I died behind the corner even sooner. I had even less time to get behind the corner. With the fake servers, the bullets twisting around walls, it's going to kill me more often now. I hate it a lot.
So
it's like, terrible news.
Like his estimation on the C9, by the way, and the C9 is about the most used SMG right now. Pre-patch, like right now, it's about 661 millisecond average. His estimation is 584. So just about 80 millisecond faster time to kill with the C9. So
sub 600 is nuts.
And just that in general, combined with how awful the servers feel, like getting shot around corners, if it feels that way still, that is not going to be a good combo at all. Gunfights are going to feel worse than they've ever felt. They're going to feel worse than they do right now. It's going to feel like you're dying around corners even more often.
And it's going to be
that last bullet where you could have got around the corner
Yep.
before is now going to kill you. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Not real happy about this at all. Yeah.
Yep. Really bad stuff. Yeah. And as a point of comparison, what was the first meta SMG on Moz? Was it the Christopher Vector?
It was real early if it wasn't the first gun. And it was like what was that? I mean, that was insanely fast. That was like 300 milliseconds.
Was it?
Yes, it was like.
If it was that fast, then never mind. I thought it was like 500 or something.
Well, I think maybe I'm thinking of when everyone started with like one plate or something. That's how fast it was. So I don't remember, but I'm almost positive there was a time to kill in Warzone 2 at the start in the 300 millisecond range. And it was the Fennec, somewhere around there.
Fennec, that's what it was. If it was 300 milliseconds, then ignore this comparison. But I thought I remembered, but everything I know is a lie. And my brain doesn't work, apparently, because I don't understand English, I guess. I recall the Fennec on a fully plated enemy being 500 something millisecond time to kill, like with chest shots or whatever. And that was insanely fast. Insanely nuts fast. So we're going back to that. And yeah, they might as well delete the turned on badge now. True. Fucking true. Yeah. If someone shoots you in the back, no, you have no chance. No fucking chance. You guys know what super bullets are? We talked about them before. Someone shooting you with a PPSH, that gun's gonna be fucking nuts, because you're gonna go from the server not updating and you're full health to the next update, you are dead. There's no time gap. You just die. It's like you've been sniped by a PPSH as far as the servers are concerned. So you won't be able to stim it. You won't be able to get your resolute speed buff to run around the corner. You die behind the corner anyway. It's going to be rough. I hate this change. And again, there's a reason back in the day we increased the health total and by extension the time to kill. People wanted it. But everyone forgot that. Because now they get mad when they shoot a bullet at some guy, miss the next 4, and then the guy who actually is good turns around and fucking dunks on them. So they say, man, I wish he would have just died in that first bullet.
Make the time to kill faster again. So then I can call out my PA and snipe somebody with it.
Okay.
Fucking insane players. But I mean, if this is what people want, then they should do it. I'm wildly out of touch, so I don't know. I take back all my criticisms.
This is better for players coming back to the game.
It's more familiar for players coming back to the game, and better because they're going to be worse. So yeah, I guess you're right. Anyway, the new guns, we've gone over these. The conversion kit's coming back. Monolithic suppressor, we've gone over that. And default loadouts available via crates during a match have been updated with more competitive options. So the default loadouts for a new Frog are going to be what an Activision devs thinks is a competitive option or suite of competitive options. That may or may not be true. They'll probably be better than what we have now. But are they going to be like good meta loadouts? Probably not, but whatever. And then they go into, a whole list of supposed weapon balance changes they're going to do. And basically everything got a fuck ton more damage to make the time to kill faster. I'm not reading literally any of these, obviously, because if you change one gun's damage numbers, you can evaluate it. If you change all of them, then I don't know what gun is good or bad, because the quality of a gun obviously is relative. It depends on what other guns are and how much damage they do and stuff. So we'll find out what the meta is.
Yeah.
But right now, and not to mention, we don't have the new guns yet or their stats. And those are probably going to actually be the meta regardless. So we'll see. I don't know. We're getting the classic vehicles back.
Okay, I need to bounce here, but
okay.
Yeah, before we get in these last things, couple things I want to say. They're like bringing back some of the OG like icon sounds and shit like that. All of this is good, in my opinion. I like all that shit a lot better. It's going to be a nice little nostalgia hit for players. And it doesn't matter much either way. And I hate the sounds of everything BO6, so I like this change a lot. But yeah. Everything else here, I think, at the end is mostly positive, so that's cool. You're going to get to cover the positive stuff, man.
Based. Yeah. I'll be positive about it, truly.
I got to bounce. Sorry, I got to go. But I'll be back Thursday.
Quick overall impressions on the patch notes. Real quick.
Overall, well, we haven't read a lot of the positive yet. That's the thing. So I think overall, mostly good, but it might be plagued with a few things. Like if I get shock charged every gunfight, it's going to just single-handedly basically ruin the update. Because if that's happening every single gunfight, that's going to just piss me off numerous times a day. So that's enough to just ruin an entire update. So I think a lot of good little changes in here. Bringing back, that nostalgia that a lot of people are looking for is good. But yeah, I'm excited still, but there are worse things in this update than I thought they were going to be. So I would say like a 7 out of 10 is what I'm looking at right now.
7 out of 10 on paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. Later, buddy. Take it easy.
Later.
Yeah. So we press on. Tanner has to go to work. So, yeah. Cool. We'll see. Here are the vehicle adjustments. Yeah, they're trying to get the original essence of vehicles, blah, blah, blah. They go into how vulnerable vehicles are. Okay. I'm not going to read any of this. I mean, it's not like you're going to remember like, oh, how many times has my, LTV been hit by a grenade? You don't know. So like, I'm not going to read the table, but whatever. We'll see how they play. Hopefully well. That's something we just don't know until we actually play. Cause like their vulnerability is one thing and they can read to me how vulnerable these things are. First of all, I need to know how vulnerable to a C4 is, well, C4 is a bad example. How vulnerable to a grenade is the current, LTV? Like, so I don't know, but, and if they don't maneuver well enough, then it almost doesn't matter. Because, well, it does, because you're going to have to use them even if they're shit, because there's no balloons. So we'll see how that goes. The victory screen, the classic one's back. Oh, here's a look at the map, the TAC map. It looks pretty clean, honestly. And now that there aren't so many contracts, there's less of the legend clutter bullshit. There aren't like a million icons you need to track. One thing I would love on the map that I've been asking for years, and many people have been, is toggleable legend. So like, hey, I know where the ammo caches are, for example, now. I'd rather when I open my map not have those icons displayed. Or vehicles. You're probably going to want vehicles actually, but I don't know. Buy stations. I remember where these are. I don't want to see them on the map. I just want to pull it up for like only contracts and that's it. And like the loadout or whatever. That would be cool. Doesn't look like we're getting that, but I mean, that's not the huge deal. But that would be a nice quality of life change. And then some other things, a lot of just cosmetic changes that they're trying to make it like look and feel more like it did back in the day, which is cool, but whatever. I mean, yeah, if the game works, then cool. If it doesn't, then it doesn't fucking matter. So weapon inspect now shows attachments, which is very cool. Good change. We've gone over this from the blog post. Same with this death recap. That won't work. This will never work, by the way. This detailed death recap, it'll never work. They've got the death recap thing correct like once in the many iterations they've tried it. So I have fucking no faith that they're going to do it this time. So, but that extends to a lot of the things in this, not just this death recap, but whatever. It's a cool idea. So if they can do it, cool. Some other bullshit that doesn't matter, and we've already covered in the blog post. This is kind of cool. Minimap and TAC-map player icons have been enhanced to visually differentiate between some guy talking on VoIP. So if you're like queuing with randoms, you open your map and you see one glow, you'll be like, oh, that's the guy talking. That's kind of cool. Firing a weapon, staying quiet. Okay, so just neither of those things, I guess. And then ghost perk on and off. I actually like all of these things. These are cool. Get friends so that none of this matters, but if you don't have friends, cool. Some other stuff. Custom ping duration, I think we've gone over that. TAC map centering options. And now audio is the next section, which is obviously hugely important. So we're getting classic sounds. Cinematic sounds. So the infill, the gulag, the exfil, the music. The classic announcer has been re-recorded by the original guy. That kind of bugs me. Just use the original audio files, but whatever. Hit marker sounds, death door sounds, loot chests, etc. This shit doesn't matter at all. It's cool. I'll take it. I'd rather it. Sorry, I didn't have the screen on right. But I don't really care. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. This is a huge section. Audio adjustments, occlusion, and reverb. So, every time we get a new map in Warzone, there are occlusion issues, and the audio is really bad. So there are a lot of fucking problems right now with Urzikstan. However, footstep audio typically is not one of them. There are times when I don't hear someone I ought to, but taking the totality of Warzone history and comparing right now to the past, the footstep audio is pretty fucking good. On Urzikstan, and only Urzikstan specifically. They ruin zipline audio. When you're jumping up on shit, that's also silent. So the audio is by no means perfect right now, but it's pretty good. It's acceptable, especially by Warzone standards. However, that's not true on Area 99 or Rebirth Island. And my only conclusion, my only guess, is because there are weird audio occlusion issues. Occlusion meaning, as far as I can describe it, and I may or may not be correct, I don't fucking know anything anymore, is like You know, if I'm running around and there's like a big, thick concrete wall and you're on the other side of it, you're not going to hear me as well or at all because there's a big, thick wall in between us, which makes sense. Sure. The problem, though, is that there can be an update to a map and I'm running right next to you and there's no wall between us. But for some reason, the game's audio thinks there's a wall between us. So it sounds like there's a wall between us, but there isn't actually a wall between us. And then you just don't hear me when you should. That's the problem with occlusion every fucking time. Every fucking time. So what do they say about it? Transitioned from older raycasted occlusion system to Microsoft Triton Acoustics audio middleware, providing realistic occlusion, obstruction, and reverberation. Improved sound behavior around corners and surfaces, and custom-tuned data specifically optimized for Warzone. Okay. So if this is what one of my friends told me sounded good and exciting, kill yourself in-game, obviously, and I don't mean real life. Because what the fuck does any of that mean? Cool. I'm going from raycasted occlusion to Microsoft Triton Acoustics. I have no idea what that means. Could this be good? Maybe. Could it be ass? Also maybe. We have no fucking idea. So far, I am woefully unimpressed by these patch notes relating to audio. But let's see if it changes. Because I don't know what that means, and unless you're a sound engineer, none of you do either. So, and also, I'm not sure I want to move systems. Because the system we have now is pretty good. So if we're moving to a different system, I'm very afraid you're going to fuck it up. I'm very afraid you're going to fuck it up. So, not excited so far. Let's see. Sound modifiers. Here's the next section. Adopted new procedural auto. I can read. It's all been my fault. I can't read. Adopted new procedural audio technology developed by Treyarch that dynamically adjusts sounds based on gameplay elements. Entity speed, angle, and elevation. Okay. So what it sounds like they're saying is, if some guy is sprinting at me at 15 meters per second, he's going to be louder than if he's crouch walking. Because that's like entity speed, for example. I thought that's already how the audio worked. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, maybe it's not how the audio works. Maybe they just like do less sound. The difference makes sense in my head. The way I'm understanding it. So if you're sprinting really quickly, probably, okay, so for example, if I attack sprint past you with my knife out, and then I take the same route, but I attack sprint with a cipher out, it probably sounds equally loud in both of those two examples currently. But now with this system, since the attack sprint is faster, the attack sprint would also be louder. That's what I think they're saying. If that's true, cool. Those words look good. If I'm understanding it correctly, and if it actually fucking works, which I have very little faith in. But the words sound good. So, okay, sure. Footsteps and ladders. Unique tuning for Warzone footsteps separate from premium titles. Introduced with MW 3. Okay. Friendly teammates' footsteps reduced when positioned behind the player. That's good. Footstep loudness dynamically scales with entity speed. Okay. I thought that's what it just said above, but sure. Footstep pitch changes based on player elevation. That's huge. Above versus below. That's really fucking big. Wow. Okay. I see what you were saying now, friend of mine. If they can do that, that's fucking massive. Because with a lot of practice, you can kind of get used to what above you versus below you sounds like based on, honestly, how many hours you put in and how many times you've been in that exact building and someone's been below or above you. It's not like it really sounds like they're above or below you, but it sounds like something different than the other thing you've heard before where they happen to be below you, so you realize it's above you or whatever. But if they had different pitches to further differentiate, that would be really, really good. Really good. So this is a good idea on paper. Ladder sounds amplified and adjusted based on player movement speed. This I don't understand because it implies I can climb a ladder faster. Oh no, I guess you can climb it slow actually. Okay, ladders are loud as fuck. I don't want them to touch it. Honestly. But I guess this is good if you want to climb a ladder slowly so you don't get heard. Would I want that? I don't know. Probably fine. Yeah, it's probably good. I mean, if true. Boosted audio cues for jumping, landing, and distinctive ceiling footsteps to clearly indicate players running overhead. This is also huge, particularly an audio cue for someone jumping. Mainly that. Because one of the OP strats is like, all right, I'm about to push this building. As I get close, I'm going to just jump right before I'm like, whatever, in the threshold. So that there's no audio because I'm midair and they didn't hear me jump. And then by the time I'm on the ground, I'm sliding and killing them. Then they never heard me. That's like a sweaty tech that good players will do to like hide their footsteps for as long as they can. And it works because when you jump, when an enemy jumps, excuse me, very hard to hear them. Very hard to hear them. If not, impossible. I actually don't know what an enemy jumping sounds like. I don't think I know what that sounds like. So they do need to make that fucking louder. That would be good. And then landing as well would be cool. Cloth and gear sounds are now distinctively tuned for Warzone. Increased clarity and volume of mantling and melee sounds. Differentiating friendly and enemy movements. Again, good. Enhanced mantling audio to resemble footsteps for greater situational awareness. Okay, well, that's what I was just bitching about. Mantling is fucking silent. Like, people can, like, mantle up to you and you won't hear them at all. So making that louder is necessary. It's necessary and good. However, why do they need to resemble footsteps? That might be a little confusing. This would be a massive improvement over hearing fucking nothing at all, which is the case right now, but it would be even better if it sounded like someone mantling. I don't know what that sounds like. I'm not an audio engineer. Figure it the fuck out. So, okay, sure. Audio pitch of loot boxes has adjusts based on vertical elevation, providing clearer vertical positional feedback. Okay. Just make them quieter. Loot boxes are the only thing I need to be quieter. They are loud. I mean, they're fine, honestly, but I'd prefer them a little quieter, but whatever. And that's the audio section. Okay. I mean, I'm deeply troubled. A lot of this sounds good. I have very little faith almost any of this is going to go through. I think there are a key couple things that actually could matter. For example, I think they could tune down the friendly teammates' footsteps and that actually sound different because they've done it before. I think they also could change the ladder soundness because they've done that before. But things like enhanced mantling audio to resemble footsteps, no shot they figure that out. Changing from raycasted occlusion to Microsoft Triton acoustics. I don't know what that means, but the audio will be worse, absolutely, on day 1 of season 3 on Verdansk than it is right now in Urzikstan. 100%, especially if they're switching fucking occlusion systems. No faith that's going to be good. Oh yeah, people will be more audible based on how quickly they're moving. Horse shit. No shot that's true. The audio is going to get precipitously worse, is my prediction. This all sounds great. I just don't believe they can pull this off. There's no way. This is all way too good to be true. Because if they could pull this off, sensational update. I might even be okay with shock charges. But they're not by any means are they going to pull this off. No. The best case scenario for the audio is that it gets very marginally better than it is now. And that is like a 5 to 10% chance of that being true. Maybe by season 3 reloaded. But if you expect all of this shit on launch of season 3, you must just be coming back, because spoiler alert, every set of patch notes up to and including these have been wildly incongruent with what the actual patch is. So, especially this audio section, bullshit. Lots of this that sounds good is just not going to be true. Hopefully some of it is, and hopefully some of it by like, yeah, season 3 reloaded, season 4 is true. But I mean, yeah, you have a set of other things coming if you expect all of this on day 1. You are out of your fucking mind. Or this is a generational update and a different dev team or sets of dev teams have been working on it than the ones that have done season 1 reloaded, season 2, and season 2 reloaded. One of those things is going to be true. So we'll see which. Hopefully it's a whole different crew of people and I'm wrong about all of this. I would love that, but I doubt it, especially for the audio. So the audio I think is going to get worse, yeah. And then bug fixes. This is a conspicuously short list, honestly. Let's see if any of these are relevant. I'm going to search the word over. Okay, so I will still mantle over rather than on top of thinner high ledges. That's been the most annoying bug that they said they fixed twice and haven't. That is going to continue to go unfixed. Or they're going to fix it and not write it in the patch notes, which they've also done a couple times. So, who knows? Chat, any of these bug fixes matter? I'm going to do a quick skim, but if I miss something, let me know. I will now read. Give me a second. Okay, fixed an issue causing incorrect cache displays for spectating players. Okay, you guys want to know another bug? Incorrect cache displays for actively playing and participating players. That's another bug. Said I had $7,200 yesterday. I'm running to the buy station to buy a teammate back. Oopsies, the game's lying to me. I have $1,000 and I hope that helps. Got it. So it would be a lot more cool and important, by the way, if instead of fixing how much money the spectators think I have, me seeing how much money I actually have myself as the person playing and not spectating. That's an even more important bug to fix, I would think. I would think that. But maybe you guys, much like the PA Noti, maybe you guys would prefer they fix this first, because I don't know anything. So that's cool. So there's one almost relevant bug fix that I've found so far. Let's see. This is good if true. Fix an issue preventing immediate weapon fire after cutting a parachute without repressing the fire button. That's a big issue, actually, and a huge W if true. Let's see. That's about it. Let's see. None of them matter. Yeah. This entire update is dead on arrival. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. And that's it. So, you guys can already tell. I mean, overall, there wasn't that much positive here, honestly. I mean, the audio section would be positive if I could believe it, which I just don't. You shouldn't either. You could be hopeful about it, but don't get your hopes too high because they will be dashed. I guarantee it. There is a chance the audio gets improved from launch of Season 3 to Season 3 Reloaded or beyond, but I mean, that was some ambitious audio changes. And we're also getting a brand new map. I just don't see it. The PA thing is just insane, but that's what people want, so whatever. Shock charges still being in the game is absurd and bad. Actually, I shouldn't say most of this is bad. Those are the bad things. The other shit is fine. It's like fine or good. So I actually think most of the stated changes are neutral or positive, but there are some negatives that are extremely negative. Really only, honestly, the shock charges. I think that's extremely negative. Everything else is like, it's fine, or it's good, or it's kind of bad. But the real story of patch Season 3 is not written anywhere. It is only to be experienced by the likes of you and I, listener. No one, including and especially the devs, have any idea what Season 3 is going to be like based on the patch notes. We have never, again, this year, gotten patch notes reflective of the patch they are referring to. So the question becomes, there are a couple questions. Number one, if everything went through as intended, how would the patch be? In this case, pretty good. We get a new map. We wouldn't have balloons. It would feel wildly different. The audio would be great. I wouldn't get PA noties and there'd still be shock charges. But overall, it would be a massive improvement on what we have now, if I could believe all the patch notes. So on paper, despite my disappointment that shock charges are going to remain in the game, mainly, and the PA thing is dumb and some other little things, this would be an 8 or 9 out of 10 update. I get Verdansk again, a new map. I'm fucking done with Urzikstan. Getting rid of all the cheesy shit redeploy mechanics is awesome. Getting some of the nostalgia bait in is cool. Getting massively improved audio based on what they said would be amazing, amazing, amazing. And other things. This would be an 8 or 9 out of 10 update, if we could believe everything that's written down. Now, of course, I've been paying attention this year, so I know that we can't expect, nor will we get, even 90% of what was written here. Closer to 60 to 70, maybe. Probably closer to 60. We're going to get some of this shit. And a ton of other new bugs that no one can possibly anticipate. Now, to be fair to Activision, of course it's going to be buggy. It's a whole new fucking map. It's a massive update. I get it. That's fine. And if there are bugs for the first 5 days that they are continually chipping away at in those 5 days, great. No harm, no foul. I expect any company, no matter how competent, to do an update this big and it have bugs on day one. You can't QA test every single thing. Fine. However, if the bugs go unaddressed for a week, or worse, they say they address them and then actually not address them for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 weeks, which is the track record of every single update we've gotten this year, then this shit is ass. Period. Not to mention, I am deeply concerned about the visibility and the cheaters. So, a lot has to go right for this to be a solid update, unfortunately. And if this were last year and we got these patch notes, I would be ecstatic. I would be so happy. Because generally speaking, the patch notes were accurate last year, and I could believe most of it. I still wouldn't believe the audio section. I would never believe that audio section ever. The audio's never been that good. So I wouldn't believe it if that were in last year's patch notes, but everything else I'd believe, by and large. And I could expect it to be really fun, and if it were buggy on launch, I could expect them to be patched up pretty quickly. But that's not going to happen this year, or this season. And that is also not to mention, how many bugs do we still have that have still gone unaddressed? Lots. So this is what I'm talking about. The bugs pile and pile and pile and pile on top of each other as you do more and more updates. And this is the biggest update yet. It's a whole new fucking map. So it's going to introduce way more bugs than any other previous season has, on top of the ones that are still in the backlog. So look, I'm excited as fuck. I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to be playing way too long, assuming the servers work. And you guys can join me, but don't expect smooth sailing. And the real only hope I have, the most optimistic, realistic thing I see happening, is it's a very buggy launch. They fix a lot of the important ones, though not probably all of them, inside of like 7 days. And then the audio isn't ruined too badly. And there aren't too many cheaters right away. I think that's the best realistic patch we could hope for. And if that's what we get, I would be happy with that. That wouldn't be a perfect season, but that would be good enough for me to be happy, honestly. I would be happy with that. And I think that is at the very upper bound of what I can reasonably expect, realistically expect. So there is a chance, as pessimistic as I am in my eyes, that this is a fun, cool update. And I'm very done with Urzikstan, so even if it's dog shit, I'll take it for something different. But again, that is the upper bound of what I'm expecting. And more realistically, I'm expecting less than that. So that's it. I am tuckered out. Patreon.com/dropshot. Also, Jordan K, our newest gold patron. Thank you, buddy. The Patreon's going to be going fucking bonkers this month. Obviously, we're going to have lots to talk about. Best way to support the show. And we're doing free trials on Patreon from April 11th through the end of the month. So it's going to go crazy. Support the show. Donate. Help. Fucking please help me. Activision devs do not play their own game.